If you've ever been absolutely floored by a sports statistic, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I came across one on the weekend. I had to reread thrice just to make sure it was correct. Since May 2nd, the Colorado Rockies baseball team has 3 wins, since May 2nd. In that same time period, Scotty Scheffler has won 3 PGA events. Unbelievable stat. Could not believe it when I read it. My mind was blown. But I also had a great weekend. I hope you all had a great weekend. We've got some tariff news. We've got some conflict in Russia. We got some stuff to go over, and we're going to do that. We've got more earnings coming this week. Yes, Yassine, I see you. We're going to take a look at all of that. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for a new month for June 2nd, first day of June, starts right now. Good morning. I'm trying to time that intro, and I know it's a little off, but I'm working on it. Good morning, folks. Welcome back. I hope that you all had a great weekend, and I hope that your Monday, at least, is starting off well. I had an amazing weekend, just absolutely incredible, and I'm looking forward to spinning that forward here in the market. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Yassine, good morning, Ryan. Can we look into Avago crowd and Lulu earnings this week? Since you are an early bird and you asked so politely, yes, absolutely. I've added those 3 tickers to the list here. We'll go ahead and preview some of those earnings. I also think that we should ask Anne-Marie about some of these earnings. I'm kind of interested in that CrowdStrike and that Lululemon print anyway. So, yes, we can definitely do that. Good morning, Yassine. Welcome back. Couch Potato, good morning. Paul, good morning. Great to see both of you. Kayla, good morning. Peter, good morning. Well, good to see you again. Jane, good morning. Regal, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Zach McCracken, I love that name. Good morning. Drone plays might be on today after that Ukrainian strike. So that's what I was kind of alluding to in the opener there. Indeed, we're going to watch some of the drone plays. My ONDS is ticking up here this morning. That chart looks good. We've also got RCAT to take a look at. AV, of course. We'll talk about all of that. Basically, some drones used as offensive weapons. I guess in Russia, it was a Ukrainian strike in Russia, and we suspect that drone and anti-drone technologies may be in play here today. We'll see how that shakes out. Good mention there, Zach. Chuck, good morning. Great to see you again. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. ADL, good morning. Brett, good morning. Harley, good morning. This Moj, good morning. Definitely changed the Monday mood. So it made it better because I'm often happy on Mondays because of the market. Terlingua. I love how that just rolls off my tongue. Good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader. Good morning. Welcome back. Graph. Welcome back. Quantum. Welcome back. Bernard. Dermal. Gary. Welcome back. Tom. Good morning. I did have a good weekend. Hoot. The Hoot from Black Hawk Down. Good morning. Eric, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Keep letting it play and hype up the good morning over the music. We could try that. JJ, good morning. Harris, good morning. Can you go over Avago? We're going to be talking about Avago. It sounds like a lot this week. AVGO, of course. Yeah, so fine. Good morning. Big Bees, good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Catherine, Progressive, Russ, good morning. Pops is in here. Love that name. Good morning, Glenn. Let's get ready. ONDS is starting to launch here. Ed Sanshika, good morning. Ben and Tanya, good morning. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Maverick, I'm not going to forget you. Good morning. Let's go ahead and dive right into everything that's going on. We're going to break it down. We're going to start with the SPY. Good morning, Pete. It's great to see you. Now, starting with the SPY here, we're still under our trend line. Today's candle is going to determine where we're going next, or at least on the chart based on the way that I've drawn it. We're actually a little bit lower here in the pre-market. S&P futures down 0.34%, Dow futures down 0.24%, and NASDAQ leading the way down as it normally does, down 0.5%. The one thing that I will say here, and this is one of the things I'm going to be looking into here today, we'll see what kind of opportunity we get. But with this being the first day of the month, we are expecting more monthly inflows into the market, and we're really not getting pounded here. The news is not totally unpredictable. So I'm almost wondering if throughout the course of the day, the market gets bought back up. That's going to be where that's like the way I feel right now. We'll see how the opening print shakes out and what happens here this morning. But my gut feeling right now is that we might actually trade up today and erase some of these early red arrows that we had here in the pre-market. It is worth noting that we are actually up off the lows in the pre-market too. Now, this is important because we're either going to close above or below this little intersection that we have. Below would be the trend line from the all-time highs through the recent trend top, through the recent top that creates the trend line. And the bottom trend line here is the uptrend from the Liberation Day lows. So one of these here is going to fall, and it's reasonable to assume that this might help pave the next direction. Now, it's not a guarantee, of course, but we're just going to take a look at all of the information that we have. How does this candle finish up? Do we break out or break down? If we break down from the trend line, we have a really clear picture of where we should find the next support, in my opinion. Next after that should be this 582.30. That's the line that we've been consolidating above, which has started to bring the RSI down on the broader market, which is exactly what we want for a move to new all-time highs, if we get it. Right there at about the same spot, just a little bit lower, is the 20-day moving average. So I guess we can just kind of look at the same spot for that. But then beneath that, we have the 200. That value is at 577. So would not want to see that given up. If we do, we'll have to reassess everything that's going on. Now, on the upside, if we break the trend line, which I'm going to have here, 592.86. Remember, going back to last week, it was that 593 to 595 area that really provided some sticky resistance that we were unable to punch through. And I would imagine that that entire range is going to be back on deck here today. The trend line pretty much gives you the bottom end of that range. That's all I'm looking for here. I'll start dealing with 600 and maybe something above 600 if and when we get there. No reason to get ahead of ourselves at the moment. If any of you are thinking about adding month or several week swing position based on where we're at right now, I would love to hear about that. No matter which direction you're looking to go. So this is what I'm thinking for the SPY here today. Let's take a quick look at the morning update. We'll go through some of the stuff that is going on here today. We do have Fed Chair Powell speaking here at 1, it looks like. And then we also have the ISM manufacturing, and I think we have Logan speaking here as well. I think we have another Fed person speaking here as well. As mentioned, the futures down slightly here. Bitcoin also down 1.27%. I guess I should have said that that leads the way down, or Ethereum, but the crypto market down a little bit more than the broader market here. And then we do have some conferences that are starting up this week. So nothing starting here today, but the William Blair 45th Annual Growth Stock Conference starts on June 5th. That's actually going to be Thursday. And then we've got this Bank of America Global Technology Conference. This starts tomorrow. And LRCX Lam Research scheduled to speak or present something at that conference. So maybe keep that on your list here. No IPOs here today. We'll keep checking on that the rest of the week here. The only big earnings today was Campbell's Soup. That was this morning. Campbell's Soup trading up by about 0.3% here. Nothing really huge there in the earnings, at least nothing that I was able to find. We did have some upgrades here. Nucor got upgraded. That might be in reference to the tariffs and all of that. And then we had some downgrades here. JB Hunt, really the only one that kind of stood out there. Some of the rails were downgraded, but not a whole lot going on in that. As far as new initiations, got a buy from Rosenblatt here. Remember, we talked about CrowdStrike reporting earnings. In fact, let's take a look at those earnings here real quick. I did get the calendar for you. So this is the look ahead here this week. You can, again, Campbell's here was this morning. Tomorrow starts our big day. I know we've got Neo in the morning. I'm not sure how much that's going to actually matter. Signet Jewelers, I'm going to be paying attention to that just because of the connection to the colored stone and diamond market there. But then CrowdStrike and Asana on Tuesday afternoon. And then On Wednesday afternoon, MongoDB. So going to be some interesting prints here this week. Also have Dollar Tree on Wednesday morning. Actually, forgot about that one. Shame on me. And then Broadcom and Lululemon on Thursday. Also throw DocuSign in there and Samsara for the Internet of Things. So Thursday is going to be our biggest day this week here for earnings. We're going to do everything that we can to get you prepared. Remember, when we have Anne-Marie on tomorrow, if there are any of those Thursday earnings prints that you want to trade, let's suggest some of those tickers to her if she doesn't already have them prepared. And then perhaps we might even be able to set up an after earnings trade on some of those on Friday, depending on how things are going. But okay, Visa, MasterCard, Bill Holdings also got a buy here. That's pretty much it. Couchbase also got a buy. I believe they report earnings tomorrow. So that's your quick look around. Let's dive into some of the news here and let's see what people are saying. I got a good one here with some positive and negative in this story here. After the federal appeals court temporarily reinstated Trump's tariffs, he accused China of violating an agreement with the U.S. to ease tariffs in his Truth Social post. However, Trump did not specify the details of this violation. Treasury Secretary Bessent on Sunday clarified that China was withholding critical minerals it agreed to release in the trade deal the country signed with the U.S. negotiators last month in Geneva. Meanwhile, 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.4. The 2-year bond is at 3.92. Nice to see those tick down a little bit. We'll see if we can get them to tick down a little bit more. We talked about Dell a little bit. They actually had a record quarter. Had a pretty decent report, at least by their metric, but they were still trading down. Here's what I wanted to get to. Let's just get the week started early here. According to Bob Elliott, the CIO of Unlimited Funds, there was a consensus among market participants on that taco trade everyone loves so much, the Trump always chickens out trade, as being priced in, meaning investors anticipate Trump's tariff retreats, especially now that he is embroiled in a legal battle over the validation of his levied tariffs. Wall Street Journal had a good piece on that this morning, if anyone's interested. He implied that the taco could pave the way for a run-it-hot economic environment, easy for me to say, characterized, oh my God, did you really just do that? Characterized by growth-oriented policies and sustained stimulus, further fueling market optimism. Elliott's post signaled a widespread belief that Trump's possible tariff rollbacks or extensions are not only predictable, but conducive to a pro-growth economic stance. Meanwhile, and this is, I'm sure this is going to ruffle some feathers here, but Tom Lee's no stranger to that. Meanwhile, head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, Tom Lee, stated that a, quote, new bull market, end quote, has emerged following the spike in the volatility gauge in April. Quote, I think we had what was a miniature bear market. Now, full disclosure here, I'm not sure what determines if something's a major or a miniature or any of that. So I don't know what definition Tom Lee is leaning on here, but let me keep going. He has okay, so I think we had a miniature bear market, but has essentially rebirthed the new bull market. He told CNBC as he expects, quote, a pretty shallow, end quote, dips from here, advising investors to consider small cap stocks other than the Magnificent Seven. Now, I have literally been saying since last year, since being on with you folks last year, that what I really want more than anything else out of this market is some more diversification into other stocks. Yes, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Netflix, these are all great companies. Google, these are all great companies that we know and we follow and this, that, and the other thing. But it would be great, especially for wealth creation moves, if we had some of these other stocks really become more popular, more buying instead of just the large cap tech stocks. So if this is the way that we go, if Tom Lee's right about this, this is something that I have been hoping and waiting for a long time. I am all about that. I'll continue here. Quote, as I look at the second half, I think small caps really have a strong case to be made because as long as we move towards a tariff resolution or other markets feel that way, then I think investors can actually start putting flows back in the stocks other than the Mag 7, end quote. The other thing I'd like to add to Tom Lee's quote is that if we do get interest rate cuts, which some of us are hoping on, myself included, near the end of the year, that too should be good for small cap stocks. So we'll see if we get that. We'll see if Tom Lee is right here. We'll see if we had a mini bear market. and if we're going to start the new bull market. I'll be honest, I think it's probably too early to make that call. The way I would think about this is that if we broke to the new high, if we broke to new all-time highs on good news and things were kind of wrapped up and we had some more clarity, I think more than anything else, then maybe Tom Lee he makes early calls and he believes what he says. So shout out to him. We'll see if this ends up being correct. Now, let's talk about the tariff news that happened on Friday. President Trump announced that he is doubling U.S. tariffs on imported steel to 50%, while also endorsing the sale of U.S. steel to Japan's Nippon Steel. Speaking at a U.S. steel facility in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, Trump called the 50% tariff hike a, quote, major announcement, end quote, aimed at revitalizing the American steel industry and protecting domestic jobs. Quote, we are going to be imposing a 25% tariff, end quote. We are going to bring it from 25 to 50, the tariffs on steel into the United States, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that, end quote. Trump said he initially considered a 40% tariff, but raised it after feedback from industry leaders. So the guy that doesn't listen to anybody listened to the industry leaders and then decided to raise it a little bit. Quote, at 25%, they sort of get over that fence. At 50%, nobody's getting over that fence. LOL. There's so that's what's going on there. Here's the tweet. I keep calling it a tweet, but I guess it's a post, Truth Social post, whatever. You folks know what I mean. Trump also celebrated Nippon Steel's acquisition of U.S. Steel, which had previously been blocked by former President Biden on national security grounds. Quote, U.S. Steel was being sold into foreign hands with no protections for our great steel workers, the president said. And I said, there's no way we're going to let that happen. I was watching over you. On March 12th, Trump enacted broad 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports, prompting swift retaliation from Canada and drawing criticism from the U.S. auto sector. The EU also responded with plans for counter tariffs, which were later withdrawn. Since the March announcement, domestic steel prices have climbed as U.S. producers face less foreign competition. Back in 2018, when similar tariffs were implemented during Trump's first term, U.S. steel production rose slightly. So we actually have a little bit of data to support that. However, according to a 2023 report by the International Trade Commission, these tariffs also drove up prices for vehicles, machinery, and tools, reducing output in those sectors by over $3 billion by 2021, suggesting an economic cost may have outweighed the benefit. Go figure. According to the U.S. Commerce Department figures, the country imported $31.3 billion in iron and steel last year. Canada was the leading supplier, sending $7.6 billion worth of those materials to the U.S. Now, the immediate thing that we need to remember here or take note of here, given some of this news, let me go. Where's my chart tool? I'm all mixed up here. That's a good 311 song, by the way. CLF. Having a really good morning here today. Okay, so I think we've traded this one here before. This is, of course, Cleveland Cliffs. Stock is up 23.7% here today. You can see we actually did make a high here, about 785. Now, these are not as volatile as some of those junkier small movers that we often take a look at, but I would be entirely unsurprised if CLF was in play here today. The other thing to note is that the stock trades a lot of option volume, so it's possible that we see some unusual option trades. It's also possible that we see some trades on the equity itself based on what we're seeing in the option market. So something else to keep in mind there. We'll see what we get here for it. Or see what we get here from CLF here today. Also, as I had mentioned earlier, I believe it was Nucor. This also trading up here. Let me see if there was anything else going on here. Nope. BMO Capital. This was the upgrade that we talked about. Upgrade to outperform. Raise the price target to 145. Current price, even with the 10.5% pop here, is 121. So this also might be in play here today. If any of you folks had these coming into today, congrats. Should be a decent day here today. Okay. I'm trying to figure out ALLR. Michael, is this guy for real? Or I think I've seen this post a couple of times. Michael, if you post that ALLR post, if you copy pasta that one more time, we're going to ban you to the ether here. That's not what we do here. If you're trying to share some good information with the group, that's fine. If you continue to spam the same thing over and over again, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord has split you. Okay, let's keep rolling through some of the news here. Next, I have well, you know what? Let's actually start with the Tesla chart, because Tesla is what the piece of news is about. And here we go. Let me actually reset this here. Here we go. So here's where Tesla is sitting. Remember, that 350 spot has absolutely been a key spot for a while, and it's back. We're actually beneath 350 here. Stock's down 1.52% here in the pre-market. To me, the key level here is going to be 50. If we sell off a little bit more, 328.72 is where we're likely to find some support there. But let's go ahead and take a look at the news story itself. Gary Black questions sky high forward PE ratio. Let me ask you, anyone else out there questioning PE ratios? I feel like this is something that our group at least has been on for a while. I've had a lot of really good discussions about some of these, what do we call them, fundamentally out of whack or overpriced stocks. Nonetheless, Gary Black, Future Fund LLC managing director and prominent market analyst, has expressed concerns about Tesla's high forward price to earnings ratio, questioning the sustainability of its current valuation. I feel like I've been doing this for like 6 years, frankly, and the stock has continued to go up. So it is what it is. I just take my L and move on. Gary Black here, doubling down, not giving up. In a detailed thread on X Saturday, Black pointed out that Tesla's forward PE ratio stands at a staggering 180x. I actually checked Tesla here today when I came across this story. Coming into today, where are you? Forward PE 163.93. So let's call it 164. Still incredibly elevated here. He noted that no trillion-dollar market cap company in stock market history has traded at such a high forward PE ratio. Black argued that the long-term growth rate required to justify such a PE would make Tesla market cap larger than Apple and Microsoft, which he deemed insane. How about that? Quote, the long-term growth rate needed to justify 180 PE would cause Tesla's market cap to be bigger than Apple and Microsoft, which seems insane since both have huge TAMs, unassailable brands, and highly predictable future cash flow streams, end quote. Black criticized Tesla bulls who dismiss his argument by claiming that the 2025 PE is irrelevant. This is a discussion that I guess we could also probably layer on the Palantir. In fact, we might do that coming up here in a little bit. But again, this is something that a lot of you, shout out to the group here, because a lot of you have raised these concerns. This is certainly not new, nor is it specific to Tesla. He emphasized that the stock's valuation is the present value of all future cash flows discounted back at a risk-adjusted cost of capital plus net cash. Sorry, I had to slow that down to make sure I got it right. To disregard PE, according to Black, is the equivalent of ignoring valuation when making an investment decision. So let me just kind of turn that around in the group here. How many of you have made a trade in the last 3 weeks where you have ignored fundamental analysis on the stock? I got to think that that percentage is pretty high, because I don't think any of you would have bought any of these crummy movers if we were taking in fundamental analysis, but I digress. Tesla bulls who pretend they understand finance. I love when he starts to really kind of dig in, especially when there's some back and forth here. Nonetheless, Tesla bulls who pretend they understand finance dismiss my argument that Tesla's valuation looks stretched by saying that the 2025 PE is irrelevant. Rule number one in investing is buy low, sell high. Rule number two is price is what you pay, value is what you get. Maybe we should start repeating rule number two as much as we repeat rule number one. Arguing that PE doesn't matter to an investment decision tells me the person doing the arguing has no valuation discipline and is just buying concepts Man, I'll tell you what, this automatic reorganizing while I'm reading is the most annoying thing ever. And I'm going to complain to somebody about that today. He's arguing that no valuation discipline, oh gosh, I totally lost it. Tells me that the person doing the arguing has no valuation discipline and is just buying concepts rather than some assessment of value versus price. Black's comments come at a time where Tesla's stock has been under scrutiny due to its high valuation. Despite the company's impressive growth, some investors and analysts have raised concerns about whether the current stock price accurately reflects future earnings potential. This also complicates matters because even here, we have associated Tesla with Musk and then by the transitive property to SpaceX. And I don't think we're alone there. I think there are plenty of people out there that draw this comparison. So I understand what he's saying here, but I just don't think in practice, this is how it works. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that there are other people that fold this thing in, and it's not just about the cars. But nonetheless, Black argument adds to the ongoing debate, highlighting the importance of traditional valuation metrics like PE in assessing a company's worth. Now, this is where I really wanted to pause. This is where I had it marked before. I don't want to get away from this. And part of why I was rooting for a market, I was trying to call it a reset, or for asset prices to come down, is to reset some of these valuations. I think it would be great if we could all buy some of these really great companies that we're all familiar with and use at more down-to-earth prices. Is that the right word? Definitely something that I've been waiting for. So I get the overall point here. It just seems like Tesla's being made an example of, and there are some arms on Tesla that we can't necessarily factor in. Well, Black clarified that he doesn't foresee a situation where he would short Tesla. Love how we threw that in the last paragraph, because that's always what I'm wondering here. His comments underscore the need for investors to exercise caution and conduct through valuation assessments before making investment decisions. So how many of you agree with Gary here? How many of you aren't trading? And we don't even have to keep this on Tesla. How many of you are not trading a specific name, Tesla or otherwise, because the valuation is too high? I'll start. Palantir. Right? Palantir is a stock that I definitely believe in. I think long-term it's going to be a monster, even more than it is right now. But I have literally got up here in front of you folks and said, yeah, I'm waiting for 60. I'm waiting for a lower price here, which just has not materialized. So it's happening to me. I'm sure it happens to a lot of other folks out there. Now, speaking of Palantir, why don't we talk a little bit about Palantir? Let me actually bring the chart up here first. We'll take a look and see where the chart's at. Palantir, oh no. Palantir down by, 0.8 here in the pre-market? 0.8 here in the pre-market. And look at this. So we did actually we talked about this kind of maybe being a double top. We did go higher here. Now we have a shorter a double top again, this time right up around 133. We'll see. Just because of our discussion here on a price to earnings ratios, forward PE on Palantir 238. Boy, Tesla looks like a bargain, doesn't it? At that, oh my God. This Moj saying, I've seen enough to know that fundamentals doesn't always play out, and I think that's one of the things that's really frustrating here. Like, I think Gary probably feels the same way as you, but is like, I've been doing this for a long time. At some point, those fundamentals are going to matter again. I tend to think the same way. I just can't tell you when that's going to be. Gary, I had asked earlier, who's waiting for a specific stock to have a more down-to-earth price to earnings? Gary, looks like you're one of those. Jay, I love this idea. Jay, this is great. This is one way to kind of get around this. I'll play the ETFs with some of those bigger companies. This is a really good way to, trade those short term. Ultimately, though, especially like if I'm trying to invest in something for the long term, that's perhaps more than just a trade. I would want to use the company itself rather than an ETF. Nonetheless, if you're trying to trade one of these in the environment that we find ourselves in, this is a really good tip. We also have talked recently about there just being a ton of ETFs coming out, including more ETFs that are coming out. Kip here saying Palantir could double all of its contracts today and still have a high PE ratio. You're not wrong, even a little bit. And this is, again, one of the things that just makes it so difficult, trying to trade it with options, trying to reduce risk in the options market by maybe using butterflies, spreads, or condors in order to try to capture some movement there. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other ways that you could do it here. But Kip, I mean, this is one that, look, man, I mean, I straight up, I got up here in front of everybody and said, I'm waiting for 60, and 60 never came. And so I don't have any of this long. I'd love to have it, but man, I just can't get myself to buy it up here at 130. I would imagine you're the same. Okay, let's take a look at that here real quick. Pharma Bro, making the rounds here in the news. Pharma Bro Martin Shkreli sees a $10 trillion potential in Palantir, but cautions, quote, one bad quarter and it's down 50%. Now, I wanted to read that headline here because, okay, this is what we'll wait for. If he's right and one bad headline can bring Palantir down 50%, well, folks, I tell you the catalyst that I'm waiting for to maybe buy that, I'm going to wait for a pullback. If it's a 50% pullback, we're probably going to have to look in to figure out what's going on in there. Seems a little overdone. If we do get that, this is kind of what I'm waiting for. Let's wait for a huge move down. I'm still waiting for that in Bitcoin too, by the way. We'll see if we get that. If any of you have a thought on Bitcoin, let me know. Bitcoin, Palantir, or otherwise, frankly. Former hedge fund manager Martin Shkreli expressed bullish views on Palantir while cautioning investors about the stock market's inherent volatility during an interview with a popular investor, Amit Kurkreja. I think we've quoted him here before. Tell you what, matcha green tea in the morning, life hack. Try it and thank me later. Shkreli, popularly known as the Pharma Bro, provided a detailed analysis of Palantir's enterprise artificial intelligence implementation strategy, explaining how the company helps Fortune 500 businesses automate complex processes using large language models. By the way, big time shout out here. I think I've shared with you folks. I've done a number of things with the my local government here in Illinois, from license plates to IDs to passports and pretty much everything in between that you can imagine. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have now found the best use of large language models like ChatGPT and Perplexity. It's not for writing long emails to make yourself sound really smart. It's not to create your own sitcom or something like that. It's to deal with the government. I would literally type in, what IDs do I need to get such and such documentation, and it will just break out a list. Then I say, what number do I call to ask a question? Does all of the research to find the number or an email address. It has been absolutely fantastic. I feel like it saved me a ton of time. We'll see what happens when I actually enter the facility. But so far, large language models have done a great job helping me get deal with the government. I say it tongue in cheek, but I'm also serious at the same time. Anyway, quote, what Palantir does is they take large language models and go to businesses that don't understand how to implement them across enterprises. Shkreli said in a conversation with Kurkreja, this is actually one of the things that we had talked about when we discussed AI taking jobs, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, it's going to create other jobs too. And those that know how to use these AI tools are going to have plenty of opportunity. This is a really good example using Fortune 500 companies as the example. Shkreli projected the company could achieve $16 billion in free cash flow within 5 years, potentially justifying a $1 trillion valuation. He emphasized Palantir's 60% free cash flow margins and compared the investment opportunity to Google's early public offering. Now, this caught my eye because I have a personal L that I've taken over the years. At least I consider it that. When I was much younger, I begged my parents to invest in Google. I couldn't really make a good case. My parents were not super wealthy, so they had to be very careful about the investments that they did. And my suggestion on Google was deemed too risky. Fast forward now, the 20 whatever plus years it's been, that was obviously the wrong move. That Google position would have been up like thousands of percent. So I'm a little bit, like when I think back about that, these types of things stand out. This definitely stood out to me when I was going through this. Quote, there's no reason they can't be a $10 trillion company, end quote. Shklarelli said, citing the company's total addressable market spanning all Fortune 500 inefficiencies. Palantir's current market cap stands at $310 billion, according to Benzinga Pro. However, he warned investors about execution risks, noting, quote, one bad quarter and it's down 50%, end quote. So you let me know. You think we'll get a big move down in Palantir? I mean, at this point, I'm waiting for it, but you folks, let me know if you think that's going to happen. Let me know if you think that's going to happen. Okay, Shklarelli's analysis comes amid strong market performance for Palantir. Company reported its first quarter revenue of just under $1 billion there at $883 million. Wedbush securities analyst Dan Ives projects the stock could reach above $400 per share, calling Palantir the Messi of AI. Messi is in the soccer player, and predicting $1 trillion market cap within 2 to 3 years. Just an absolute monster. Palantir raised its full year 25 revenue guidance to $3.89 to for heaven's sakes, $3.89 to $3.90 billion from the prior guide of $3.74 to $3.76. I don't know why that was so difficult for me. Company now expects adjusted free cash flow between $1.6 and $1.8 billion. That was up from the previous guide of $1.5 to $1.7. A trillion here, a trillion there. What's it between friends? Buffalo by bicycle. Okay. Tanya's asking, what brand of matcha? I get the double matcha from the Republic of Tea. I'm a huge fan of the Republic of Tea. This is not a paid promotion. I just drink their tea. I've got a cabinet full of different flavors. One might say I'm insane for the amount of tea that I have, but I think it's awesome. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Brandy, good morning. It's great to see you again. Not sure I'd take advice from Pharma Bro. Perfectly understandable, and that is not that was not what I was trying to convey here. But I completely understand where you're coming from there, Brandy. All right. Let's see. Did I miss anything big? Let's see. Palantir will have its run until the Andril IPOs. Now, I'm certainly not going to dispute this. This to me is interesting. I am awaiting that IPO myself. I could totally see this. I could totally see this happening. I don't know for sure if this is going to happen. But this is an interesting thing to watch there. Ryan reminding us that Andril is more hardware though. And this is a good point. I almost wonder how well that stock's going to trade. I'm really interested in the headlines, or excuse me, I'm really interested in the performance, how it trades, how people react to this once it's out. There's going to be plenty of headlines, especially with Palmer Luckey and his connection to Mark Zuckerberg and all of that. And the headlines are definitely going to have an impact, but I want to see how it actually trades. I want to see how it performs. Okay. Okay, I think I caught that all. Pretty sure. Sorry, I know when I'm here, I can't follow the chart from the very beginning. Didn't this guy do time in federal prison? LMAO. I don't know if it was a federal prison. He did do time though. I'm pretty sure. He's famous for buying some Wu-Tang album. Number of stuff in there. I'm basically just trying to focus on the story here and Palantir and all of that. Okay. Let's see. We're good stuff here so far. We got a couple of minutes till 13 shows up. There is one more thing that I wanted to cover here, I think, maybe two. We just want to carry forward our discussion from last week regarding some of the robo-taxis here. I expect this to continue, and I think we're actually going to get more trades out of this. Chamath making news headlines this time. Chamath Palihapitiya calls Tesla, quote, an obvious win. Day trader, I expect you to fight Chamath now. Just kidding. Calls Tesla an obvious win, says robo-taxi Alphabet's Waymo will overtake Uber and Lyft. Billionaire investor Chamath Palihapitiya predicts Tesla and Alphabet's Waymo will dominate the autonomous vehicle market, potentially sidelining ride-hailing giants Uber and Lyft. Okay, so first of all, I wasn't aware that we could just pick both Tesla and Waymo. That would have been the way to go. Here I am arguing with people over which one's going to be better. Chamath, who's worth more than all of us put together, is just like, I'll pick them both. So that was not lost on me. I do agree with this overall, though. I would imagine for Uber and Lyft, their thing, I'm sure there will still be people that want to drive and do Uber Eats and all of that stuff. I don't see how a robot's going to do that, but that's neither here nor there. I do expect them to kind of use one of these services. I wouldn't be surprised if there was more partnerships or collaboration or something as this advances. Let's see how it shakes out. I don't have any money invested in this play at this time, so I guess it's easy for me to pick a side right now when I'm not putting my money where my mouth is. But let's see how it plays out here. I do think there's going to be another trade here, and I do like Uber, by the way. I have liked trading that recently. Anyway, in a post on X on Sunday, Palyapatia argued that the consumer preferences for driverless rides stems from privacy concerns rather than just cost considerations. Quote, "This is less about Uber or Lyft and more about a desire to ride alone without a person you don't know who can overhear conversations or interrupt quiet contemplation," end quote. So let me just start there by asking the group. We can do this very unscientifically. Do you folks prefer, or is this, let me ask it another way. Would you choose a driverless method of transportation over a human being because you don't want to talk to the human being? Basically, what he's saying here is, are you an introvert? Like, are you an introvert and you just don't want to talk to people? Is that a pro or a con for you on this? Side note here, the most creative thing I've ever had an Uber driver do is he had what looked like little menus in the back flap of the seat. And on that, when you pulled it out, there were a bunch of choices, like different music stations or types of music that you could listen to, talk with the driver, or just complete silence. And it was just kind of a nice way of just letting the rider pick what they wanted. I, of course, didn't do anything. I just didn't say anything. But I've remembered that. And I thought that was pretty cool that someone took the time to do that. Anyway, let me know if you, Sunkissed Yogi says no. So you would not, so just to make sure I get this correct, you would not choose a driverless car solely for the privacy, as Chamath outlines. There would have to be something else in your calculus. That's kind of where I'm at too. And I'm somebody that under normal circumstances doesn't interact with my Uber driver. But that's good stuff. I'm curious. No, not at all. I won't risk my life in a car that could be hacked. You have the option of not talking to them. Justine, this is another comment. I might have read your comment from last week. I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday. I might not have, but I saw your comment. You made a comment about I believe your biggest fear is being in one of these and having it be hacked. I'm with you on that. I mean, being in a driverless car where you have no power and it has been hacked, I struggle to think of few things that would be as terrifying and really off-putting as that. So, Justine, I'm with you on this. I know that the case is being made that these driverless cars are actually going to increase safety of the riders. But right now, where I sit, Justine, I'm on the same side of the fence as you. I feel like I'm risking myself getting into the car. Sunkissed Yogi says correct. Okay, good. So I understood that. Jane, the opposite. I talk to complete strangers. I hate our isolationist society. I consider myself an introvert, but in a lot of cases, I understand that nice, pleasant conversation often provides a great social lubricant, no matter what's going on. If you're with people of different ages, I mean, when I go golfing, I will often go by myself, and I'll be added to a threesome or a twosome of random people. And yeah, I absolutely try to make a conversation with them. I will say, as far as the ride hailing goes, especially if you're on your way to your work or a meeting or something like that, peace and quiet is sometimes the thing to go at. Or to go after. So I'm with that too. I love this. I absolutely, I love that there are people on both sides. Ed says you don't have to tip a robot. You may change your mind on that if the robots get pissed enough. My only worry would be if people know how to rob driverless cars passengers by simply having someone stand in front of the vehicle to stop it, even in dangerous situations. This is another really good point. God, I didn't even think. I'm a glass half full guy, so I generally don't think of some of these things. But Kip, that's now I'm even more nervous. David reminding us that there is no privacy in a driverless car. Everything is recorded. This is I didn't finish reading the story, so that might be covered here, David, but this is a really, really good point. Jane then goes on to say a driverless car is a hard no for me. I'm with you on that. Okay. Oh man, some of these comments. You folks are awesome. Izzy, I love this. I talk to everybody. That is a goal in my life. Izzy, that's probably why you're so friendly. Jane saying, don't get me on my rant about how isolationism is a total detriment to our physical and mental health. I agree with that too. Okay, I love this. Mama Bear, I love my car and still waiting for the super train. Good morning, Sideshow, by the way. Mama Bear, I'm with you. I actually was just joking over the course of the weekend. My buddy and I cleaned up our cars, and no joke, it was therapeutic. No joke. I left that thinking, oh my God, this feels awesome, and my weekend is barely even half over. Like it really just kind of set the tone there. So I'm with you on that. I love my car. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I got off on a tangent there. And I apologize, but this conversation seems to go back and forth quite a bit. Let me see if there was anything else in here. I can kind of speed it up. Technology represents the experience of the future. Questioning whether ride-hailing apps can provide sufficient value once driverless options become widespread. I think our little discussion in here alone shows that this is probably going to be a slower ramp if it happens even at all. Looks like a number of you want to continue to talk to people or just simply don't trust the driverless car. I totally understand that. He sees Tesla positioned for an, quote, an obvious win as the company scales its autonomous capabilities. This is what I was trying to convey the other day when we were talking about this. The Waymo technology is great. I understand Waymo's got Google's backing and all of that. But Tesla, where it sits right now, easily, and I mean easily, has the upper hand when it comes to scaling. And when we're talking about robotaxis reaching critical mass and becoming the next new big thing, scalability is arguably going to be the most important factor in that. I believe Tesla has that in spades over a company like Waymo. Jane says you love the tangent. Okay, as long as you guys aren't completely put off by some of my tangents, I'll keep going on them. Russ says, "Do you like the foam cannon, Ryan? I'm thinking about buying one." Russ, don't even think anymore. Just go do it, boss. I got the Ryobi new pressure washer that they released this year, and it's super cheap. It's like $150 at Home Depot, and it's designed for automotive. And I bought the MJJC pressure or foam cannon, and it makes it more fun, faster, more fun, faster, and less mistakes because you get such amazing coverage. Super, super fun. You can use whatever soap that you want, including ones that are good for the environment, which is what I did since I did it outside. Good question. I loved it. I think you'll love it too. Okay, that does it here, at least for this stuff. But we're going to up the level of fun and up the trading ideas by doubling the amount of people here. Let's bring on 13 and see how he's doing. 13, how was your weekend, number one? And number two, or B, how's the internet situation doing?
Oh, it's fine. Just replace the line, and that was all there was to it. They still need to bury the line, but that shouldn't be any issue. Great weekend. Beautiful day today. Having a good time. Who's having fun?
Bro, I woke up in a good mood despite waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, today is going to be a really, really good day. And then I successfully scheduled a DMV appointment. So I've got one more hurdle to get over today, and it is going to be in the books, and it is going to be great. And we are absolutely cooking. 13, is there anything that you wanted to take a look at here first, or should we just hit those movers, or what do you want to do?
Oh, let's just hit the movers. That's fine. Yeah. By the way, that car of yours is looking pretty good, man.
Well, that's the thing. I'm telling you, man. Like, just like the amount of like extra shine and like prettiness that you get from the foam can and from just washing it. And like I used to spend 15-20 bucks getting my car washed just because I was lazy. No more of that. We're doing it all myself going forward. Way more fun. Okay, let's take a look at the movers here. We do have a list. I don't know how much great stuff is on here, but there are going to be a couple. We're going to start here with Lira, which has the huge catalyst here today. 13, I'm assuming that these top few here are at least somewhat covered. So I'm just going to roll down the list here and turn it over to you. First one here is Lira. That is ticker LYRA. That's Lira Therapeutics is the name of the company. Shares are trading higher after the company announced its Enlighten 2 phase 3 trial of LYR 210 met its primary endpoint. Okay, stock is up $27 up here to 32. So first things first, if any of you folks had this from before, any of you folks had this stock from last week or any time in the past, congratulations, because you got your Christmas morning here today as the stock is trading up 505% on the back of this data. Volume actually looks pretty good here. 11 million shares on average. This stock trades under 100,000 a day, just 68,000 shares a day. Float on this is minuscule at 1.059 million. So it's got all of the catalysts so far to really make a move. We've actually seen a huge move already. Short information here. 13.84% of the float shorted on 1 day to cover. 13, what do you think on this one? Do you think we've seen the huge move? You think there's more? Do you have stupid levels? What do we do here with LYRA?
Well, I don't know. We can look at later to see if there can be any stupid levels, but this does look like it has one of the better news headlines this morning as far as the movers go. This phase 3 trial was for chronic rhinosinusitis or sinusitis. This is a chronic infection in the nasal area. So primary and secondary endpoints were met with this. This also has a 13.8% short interest. That's the read I was that's the read I was getting. Only 1 day to cover because they just recently went through a 1 for 50 reverse split last month. We are now in June. So that was done on the 14th. They do have a few quarters of cash. As far as where these levels could go, I apologize, I don't have those with me right away, but let's see here.
That's okay.
Okay.
I was going to say, I can start with 1 because I just took the time to actually measure it. $32 is definitely going to be one of the levels. You can see this on the daily chart going back to what day was this? Monday, May 6th of 2024. This was a huge gap down. The top of that is $32. I don't know if there was a split or something in here that did all of that, but nonetheless, that's at least what the chart is saying. What else you got?
Yeah. So $32. I see that as well. That was on May 6th last year. So happy anniversary. Whatever happened here, I didn't go back and see, but we have a huge gap to fill once we get past that 32. We do have some stops up on the way, but we're talking like in some really high numbers here, like in the 90s. So I don't have really much on where this is going to go once we start to enter that gap, because there aren't too many levels between where the gap begins and ends, save some levels that it bottomed out at before it fell.
Okay, this recently on May 28th did a 1 for 50 reverse. So
28. I must have had the wrong day. I said 1 for 50 on the 14th.
It is, well, I mean, okay, so you probably just read the wrong day.
It was announced on the 14th. I'm sorry.
It did, okay, there you go. And it did do the 1 for 50, and that's being reflected here. We'll see here on Lira. My general thought on this is to be careful, but if it stays around this 32 level and there's enough volume, there might be a trade in here, despite it being up 500. Did this really no, that can't be.
Actually, there could be after 32, maybe 47, maybe 47 in that handle.
No, okay. So this print here, see how this candle is drawing it all the way back down to 676. I am not seeing that. I actually see prints here in the $30 handle. So candles being drawn. I tried to say drawn, and I read Cinderella's comment about drones, and I just completely butchered that. So sorry.
We know you're an ONDS. We know.
Well, that's the other thing. So I mean, we'll see about that. Someone else brought that up here this morning. Well, okay, I'm getting distracted here. Wait, why is this?
It's weird because there's been so many weird misprints with.
I see this move. There we go. I was going to say, I see that moving. I don't see that in the level 2. So it was just the way the candle was being drawn. I can confirm this is in a 31 handle right now. Really, really odd. Okay. Anyway, let's move on here. Next one I've got is INM, Indigo Nancy. What's M? I forgot what M is. Mike, excuse me. This popped as high as 9 and change and came back in. We don't have any fresh news here, but reported Thursday potential issuance of 20% or more of outstanding shares to comply with NASDAQ rules. That's the closest thing we can find to news here. Let's do another quick look around the horn. Short interest, 7.64% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. On average, the stock trades under 100,000 shares at 92,000. Today, we've traded 23.3 million, and we have a float of 1.2. 13, what do you think here on INM?
So no news. I think it could be moving on relative volume between the last time it printed anything, and then today there was a change in the volume. It was not that big of a change, but it was enough to at least be double what the volume was before. So that could be it. It's also a recompliance play, so that it could be that reason too. It's also 1.2 million shares in the float, so quite a low float. Still has 1 to 2 quarters of cash. I don't exactly have the reason why it's running, but typically when we've seen an increase in the volume. From in this case from Thursday to Friday, that was slightly more than double. So I think that could be the real reason why it's moving. As far as trade set up here today, I need to see this recapture the VWAP. If we open underneath the VWAP, that's going to be the thing I'd have to wait for and see what we get, because it could still fall further out of the open. But this is going to be one of the ones where I would just want to pay attention and wait towards the open to see what it does. Just don't really know how much is left here, how much meat is left on the bone with this one. I just think this is going to have to be one where we wait and see what happens out of the open. And as far as levels go, if we are going to head down, we already got that support from that first initial pop this morning. When we came down here just about 15 minutes ago at 8:45, we hit that high as support. Mm-hmm. It's about 555, 560 in that area. So if we lose that, then I'd be looking at the 65 EMA, which is down at $4.57.
Yeah. Okay. Great plan. All of that makes sense. VWAP will tell the story here at 13. We'll see how that goes. Zippity and Ryan, hello. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Good morning.
You all are well. Okay. Next stock that we have here on the list is going to be Vera. This is Vera Therapeutics. The ticker is VERA, Victor Echo Romeo Alpha. Vera Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced its Origin phase 3 trial has met its primary endpoint. More drug data here, or drug or therapeutic data. One of the things that we briefly discussed last week, 13, courtesy of Tom from our happy hour, was the very favorable seasonality for IBB. The ETF. Oh, yeah. We also the biotech ETF. We also talked about that for Lilly, and we kind of compared those together. But I was just thinking about that. How good the seasonality was. I think it was something like 100% or 91%, something exceedingly high.
It was like 100% win rate too.
Yeah, it was crazy. And now, here we go. This morning, we're seeing even more of these smaller drug and therapy companies producing positive results. Maybe it's just something about the spring and summer. I don't know. But anyway, something else I'm keeping on the back burner. This stock popped here from $19. We were actually above 37 earlier. Come a little bit more back down to earth here, hanging right around the VWAP at 31.84. A quick look at the short interest in this one, 12.6 3.77% of the float shorted with 4.65 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of about 1 million shares. Today we've traded 1.4. So maybe there is going to be some squeeze potential here as we might not rotate all of those folks out here early. 13, what are you thinking on this one?
I think if I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, it looks like it's about ready to try and make a move over the VWAP, but not on this volume. If we just get a sudden spike in volume, that thing's over that VWAP, or my VWAP anyway. We have traded this before. I do have levels, and interestingly, we're hitting a whole bunch of them right here in the pre-market.
Are any of your levels $85? Because that's the new price target Wainwright put on it this morning.
Well, let me see where I can.
If you say yes, I'm just going to laugh. That wasn't even a serious question, but if that's the case, LOL.
No. So what the levels I have here go up to 33.56.
Okay.
But there are other levels here. I mean, like one of the more recent levels that we have just in this year. In the past year alone, we got up to 51.61. So I think we're going to want to pay attention to everything that happened in 2024 if we're going to be looking at levels, to the upside from here. But as far as this company goes, phase 3 data met their Vera. Phase 3 data met their primary endpoint. The 12.7% of the float shorted. I have a float read of it's on my broker. It's almost 60 million. Looks to be about the same here in Pro. 55 million shares in the float there. They are going to be looking to get accelerated FDA approval in a filing they plan to do in Q4 of 2025. So there is a future catalyst coming up for this company as well. If this is something you want to trade and maybe prepare for the next move it has. That's about all I've got with this one. But as far as levels to the upside go, let's see, we're at 32.10. So we'll be looking at that 33.50 area, of course. After that, 35, 36 looks pretty good. And if we even bust through that, $40.50.
Okay. Good stuff there on Vera. I like your comment here about the levels from 2024. If we continue to move higher here, there should be a lot of those in play here today. So, okay, really good stuff there, 13. Next, we're going to do BMGL. This is Basel Medical Group. That is Bravo Mike Golf Lima as your ticker there. Reported Thursday is our most recent news here. Basel Medical Group reaffirms financial position amid its market volatility. Looks like kind of a fluffy thing there. Nonetheless, though, on Friday, this traded on really, really high volume and actually made a really good move. Moved from about $127 up to $7. Just a huge move here. That relative volume, put it in play here again today. We did pop here above $10 in the pre-market, but we were unable to hold above it. Quick look at some of the short interest here. 3.37% of the float shorted on 1 day to cover. And this on average trades 3.7 million shares today. We've traded already 25 and a half. So this one looks like this is going to get going here as well. You got anything on this one? BMGL?
Other than the relative volume, I'm not, because I think that's actually why we're moving here. That massive amount of volume from Friday translating into the move here today. This also has some kind of an agreement, a purchase agreement for 1 billion in Bitcoin via a stock deal. So I didn't really go too much into this one, but it looks like since we started trading, we're just in a broadening wedge here, and it looks like we may have broken out of that this morning. What did we open at, by the way, this morning? Was it? Let me just go to a 5-minute.
Looks like it was about $5, just shy of $5.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to a 5-minute chart, you can kind of draw a trend line that we've been putting in place here since Friday. I mean, it might be weird for how each of us are going to draw it, but it's like I'm saying. I think we're kind of just the price action's been broadening out here, so it could come right back down and continue to broaden, maybe even make a newer low. I really don't know what to make of this one. I think just follow the technicals on this one. Draw some horizontal lines, draw some trend lines. I think that's going to probably serve us the best because I don't have a whole lot on this one. Let me look at the financial real quick here. I don't have a read on their income. It says they have less than 2 million in the bank. Could be a capital raise coming here at some point. I don't know. Maybe their last earnings report said something about their cash position that's not apparent here. I don't know. I don't have enough on this information on this company.
Okay. Still really good stuff. We'll keep moving on here. A couple of things. Zach, your NATO phonetic alphabet skills are improving. I would hope so. They actually should be better. Nobody's going to be as good as Charlie is, which is where I first learned that from. I actually have like a cheat sheet posted right above my monitor here, so I should be better at it anyway. We'll keep trying to get better and better at everything that we do. Let's see, was there anything else in here? Oh, Cinderella saying, what was the deal with Red Robin stock from the other day? They had earnings, and they reported way better than expected Q1 financial results, which caused them to pop. Okay.
How's that doing, by the way?
What's that?
How's that doing now, by the way?
RGB.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing we do is need to start talking about cheeseburgers and delicious food here on Monday morning.
All I wanted to, just point out is, hey, we closed above, or did it close above that? Yeah, it closed above the 200-day SMA. So one step to see if we're going to continue with the upside. It needs to see multiple close above it. I think 650 is a big level. That's all I've really got right now for our RGB.
Okay. Next here on the movers list is ticker IRD. This is Indigo Romeo Delta. Opus Genetics shares are trading higher after the company announced its Lynx 2 phase 3 trial met its endpoint. Have you guys found a theme yet here today? Anyway, this stock popping, we went as high as 150, although we've backed that off. We're actually beneath the VWAP and selling here on volume, by the way. Short interest, look around the horn, 0.41% of the float charted with 1.43 days to cover. That comes on an average of 210,000 shares. We've traded 2 million here today. Float's kind of thick on this one, 56.7. That makes me wonder if we had any splits or anything. Let's see, how about offerings? Looks like we did have an offering back in March. Price was 95 cents. Current price here, 120. 13, what do you think here? Ticker IRD.
Looks like they have a good amount of cash, almost 42 million, but they lose, usually they lose about 5 to 8 million a quarter. So, but it's interestingly, they do have some revenue. Beyond that, I don't know anything about this company or what it does. Let's look at the chart and see if I can find anything there. All right, so we are at 120 right now. Interestingly, that's the 200 EMA on the daily chart. But if we, and that's okay, so that's an interesting level, because if we get past that, that'll be the first time since 2023 that we've traded above it. So that's going to be an important level to get above here in pre-market is 120.
Okay. And it looks like it's banging on that right now.
And if it does get above that, I think 150 is going to be your next target for resistance. There you go.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we have here on the list. I talked a little bit about Cleveland Cliffs earlier. I'm not sure we really need to cover that unless you had a thought there on the steel tariffs and what that might affect. We also took a look at Nucor when we mentioned that as well. I only mentioned because CLF is on the list here.
Okay.
David is bringing up Mullen, and it does not look like emojis were not used. And also, David, it looks like you were kind of seriously asking about Mullen. Mullen seems to be trading way down after a reverse split here today. I can't even believe it. Jay's right. He's never going to cover this short. He's never going to have to, ever. Just wild stuff. Wild stuff. Okay. Did you have anything else on the movers that we didn't get to?
Nope. It's typically 3 or 4, and then I'm out the door.
3 or 4, and then I'm out the door. I can get with that rhyme any day. Mutani, you're asking about Buru. Full disclosure here, we generally don't cover penny stocks. We may cover them if they're moving here. This was a big mover from Friday, maybe some relative volume. This is a pass, though, for us.
Yeah, that was one of those temporary trades. Had a really good Friday when we popped up to some of those highs from the after hours on Thursday, but after that was all she wrote. Down to now interestingly here, it's down to a support area around 30 cents, but I wouldn't be too hopeful that it turns around. I think it is going to come down and maybe even trade somewhere down around 25 cents, maybe even lower than that.
Okay. All right. Really quickly here. The last mover, and I'm just going to briefly mention it here. IMCC. This is IM Cannabis Corporation. I'm not familiar with this at all. We have some news here from Wednesday. The stock's up 27%. Big time shout out to Mitch. I saw it was either over the weekend or it was last week. I saw that there was a Haribo, the gummy bear manufacturer, recall because several batches of their gummy bears were tainted with cannabis. The funniest part about this entire thing is everyone in the comments was like, "Oh my God, that's terrible, but where can we buy them?"
Yeah, that's a special edition release.
So it made me laugh here, seeing IM Cannabis Company trade up here. I don't think there's any relation to the Haribo tainting, but nonetheless here, this did pop a little bit on volume here. Robert saying IMCC, no thanks. Sergeant Sexy, self-proclaimed cannabis guru, never heard of this in the shops. So that's actually really good. I don't visit those shops, so I wouldn't know. But this is good to know. If any of these companies produce some PR or say that they're doing this, that, and the other thing, and it's going to be great, and the stock starts trading up and all of that, I think the first thing that we could do to investigate that is see if they actually exist in the places where you can buy cannabis. And if not, you might want to reconsider that. This is all good insight here. IMCC, that was another one from the movers.
Yeah, they voluntarily are going to be delisting themselves from the Canada Securities Exchange. So don't think that's great. I don't know if there's really a trade here, maybe, but if it's voluntarily taking itself off an exchange, that doesn't seem too good. Like they can't afford to be on it.
Cinderella saying that that's awful, and he'd be happy to get rid of those tainted gummy bears for you. You're doing us all a service here, Cinderella. Okay.
Yeah, Joe, exactly. They actually might go to sleep now, huh?
You parents, you make all the jokes you want. I'm going to leave that one alone.
I'm just kidding.
13, you had mentioned earlier, I kind of mentioned it earlier too. So we had these. We had a strike in Russia, right? It was a Ukrainian strike on a Russian airfield. I'm just trying to make sure I get these facts correct. So if I mix something up, please correct me. And we had the thought here was that, okay, drone warfare is clearly proliferating. We're likely going to see more attacks using autonomous drones that are much cheaper than airplanes and have no cost of human life at the end. And on the flip side of that, we're likely to also see counter drone measures being taken. That is causing some of the drone stocks to pop here this morning. RCAT is one of those. You can see RCAT here after having kind of, if we take a look at the 15-minute chart here, I guess RCAT recently has been a little bit better, but there was a while here where this was really getting pummeled. That actually got cut in half. This is trading up by about 8% here today. ONDS, this is another one that you folks are all aware of. This is also trading up by almost 10% here today. Good thing about ONDS is that this daily chart looks like it is ready to launch. Hopefully that is the case. Did finally make a sale of this last week. See if we get an opportunity to sell some more here. I'd really like to see a bigger run. There are also some other drone stocks that we might want to take a look at. AVAV, this is going to be your best in breed drone stock. This is up by 3.3% here. 13, any other stocks or any other information that you want to cover here on this potential theme?
Oh, well, I think we got to see all that. It was a great show. But I think the big takeaway for me was that this isn't something could be just localized to Russia. This could happen anywhere in any country, including ours. So I think that, we are going to see a big step up in anti-drone countermeasures and systems, particularly of the laser type, as they typically cost less per shot. So that's what I would be looking at is kind of more into the anti-drones. And one of the things about the Ukraine war that we've learned a lot is how effective different drone systems can be. I mean, this isn't just the first type of drone system they use. They've also used watercraft drone systems that have been very effective. It's actually crippled their Russia's sea capabilities in large aspects. So I think we're really, this whole Ukraine and Russia, we're really seeing the future of warfare play out in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I think everybody should be aware about, that this isn't something that is going to be, just localized there. It could happen here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. And we've to give our show some credit, we've talked about the drone theme proliferating just on, we've speculated what could happen. To your point, 13, now we're actually seeing some things happening and getting played out here. A couple of comments here real quick. First of all, Hellcat and Bill Jur, appreciate both of you. I had said an airfield. It was actually multiple airfields. Hellcat saying close to 40-ish planes.
Yeah.
So I was not trying to undersell it. I apologize. Appreciate you folks. This is why our chat is the absolute best. They're part of it. You guys are all part of what we're doing here. Don't ever forget that. Also, more tickers here on potential drone names for you folks to keep an eye out for on some of those. Palantir might have an angle on this one, but 13, as you and I have kind of been discussing, this is really Andrel's wheelhouse, isn't it? Didn't Palmer have some device that he talked about that was like electrical drone scrambling? You don't fire any projectile at them?
I don't remember everything about their anti-drone or drone systems. I just remember one of the most recent things that we saw out of Anduril was their autonomous craft it looked like a jet, but it was made using commercial parts, so the cost to build was very low. That was something I think was being explored for use by the Navy. So that's all that my scrambled brain this morning can remember right now. But we can explore that and try to get some more data if we need.
Okay. What anything else that you want to take a look at here before we open? I hit everything from my list. Yassine wanted to take a look at Broadcom, CrowdStrike, Lulu. There was someone else out there that wanted to take a look at Hood. I'm sorry, I can't remember who mentioned it, but I saw the ticker. By the way, I saw the ticker because you used caps for the ticker and the folks around you were using regular case for the regular type. So for me, it made it very easy for me to find that ticker. Kathy is also mentioning FAAS, which I believe was on the movers list here. So we got some stocks to take a look at. Was there anything specific that you wanted to do, 13?
We can go with whatever the chat wants to take a look at. I'm just laughing at what Sean said. Zelensky doesn't have the cards. I remember, seeing that as we were watching all this, and then some meme showed up with Zelensky holding 5 aces.
Didn't some of those drones come from us?
Probably. I'm not sure. I didn't.
I didn't mean to throw a monkey wrench into all of that, but LOL. Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, real quickly here, Kathy, FAAS. This is actually one from yesterday. Yesterweek. LOL. This is one from last week. It actually looks like this is ramping here again. I will say nothing fresh on this. So I would just use technicals on this one. Be careful, but this is ramping up here. Let me go back to some of those bigger stocks. All of these are earnings plays here this week, which is why Yassine wanted to take a look at them. Here's Broadcom, ticker AVGO, Alpha Victor Golf Oscar. We are right up here at, I guess you could even make a case for this being a quadruple top. Triple top, double top. This is clearly at an upside resistance area. We have earnings here Thursday after the market closes. That's going to be the big earnings day here today. 13, you got any thoughts on this one?
I am in this one, and I hate to say it, but it is very extended, and it needs to come back in. So even when I do want something like this to go up, it's still got to cool off. It's been on a massive run here. Let me just draw this trend line out further. It looks like we do need to come back at least to the 20-day SMA, probably go a little bit lower than that. I think 220 looks like a good spot for support, but even that might not hold up. I don't think we're going to go under 200 though. I think we're going to be holding above that, and I'll feel more comfortable even saying that once the 50-day SMA rises above 200 as well. It's currently at 196.88.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think it's got to come back in a little bit, but hopefully not too much.
I was going to say between now and Thursday, the best possible thing here for Broadcom would be for a move down.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you. If we could really kind of trade back into a 230 handle and maybe trade sideways until the earnings print, that would be the best possible scenario, in my opinion. That would maybe back some of this RSI off, give us a little bit more room in case that print is pretty good. We'll see what they end up saying here. I think the guide's going to be important. Yeah.
And you can it's just another one of these that you can just draw a trend line on, since April 7th, just draw a trend line. And once we break this trend line, then the uptrend is over. So that's what I'm looking for with a lot of these things, because they should start to trade lower once we break the trend line.
Okay. Crimp Biscuit, is your bar scheme in support of Ukraine? I have no idea what you're even talking about. The good news, though, IRD is apparently making a huge move here, and Robert is done for the day.
Oh, see you later.
We haven't even, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this thing did make a move. Congrats, Robert. I'm going to give you another one, Robert. The market didn't even open and you're done. Man, go play golf or something. Do something. That is, woo.
It popped up right to the 500-day SMA. It said, okay, let's keep going. And it's still going now. So went up to 218. Yeah, it just took a breath and then popped even higher. Maybe it's now we're turning around.
Okay, well, hey, good job by the group to sell into that area here. Day trader, love it. Avago, Broadcom here, 247 to 250 is a key resistance level. You can see what he's doing. So I had talked about these tops here. Day traders actually assigning numbers to that range. I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, that whole area up there, I think, that's perfectly fine. It's I think he and I are on the same page. This thing needs to turn around here. I mean, it's had a massive run. All right. Let's cool off.
Here we go. Next, CrowdStrike. Now, this one, I do like this. This is part of the cybersecurity theme, which I love. Love that the chat here, shout out to Amanda, put this on the radar and really kind of bumped up its priority. CrowdStrike has made a move above the double top recently. It actually back tested that breakout level, which I thought was very, very healthy. This also reports earnings on Thursday after hours, and it is at the top end of the range near a resistance point. Now, the RSI on this one is not overbought yet, but boy, we're close. We're close on this. Again, same deal here on Broadcom. I would love if this was a little bit closer to one of these pretty big volume shelves. Those are all sub 400. We're just shy of 500 here. This might be a really good trade to ask Anne Marie about, because I feel like maybe this one could go either way. Don't feel super great about this popping above 500, but I don't want to rule it out. What do you think here, 13? You got any thought here on CrowdStrike?
Where is your trend line on this? Didn't I tell you to draw a trend line? I'm pretty sure I drew
the bottom one from 2023.
Nope. Let's draw this one. Start at March 6th, 2024.
Got it. I already see it.
Yep.
I already see it. Boy, I probably could have done that with a parallel channel too here. Okay.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
So
parallel channels look pretty good there, actually.
So let me ask you then, do you think that this might have a chance to pop, but it's likely going to find some resistance up there, 488, 490?
Oh, I think it's going to find resistance up there. Whether or not we get a close over this trend line, I don't know what's going to happen there. But seeing as how the RSI is just under 65, getting up to that trend line in a quick manner might get us to the point where the RSI is going to be too high and you'll trigger some selling. I don't know if we're going to bust through this and hold this trend line, or if we're going to print above it and then come back in and start closing underneath it in reverse. Don't know if we're going to get with that yet, but this is, if you just look at this trend line and what the price has done in the past, it could be a lot of similar things where, it tests it, rides along the underside of it for a while and then falls, or it just spends a day or two up there and then comes back in. Either way, I think that this is going to be a level to watch for this trend line because the price is likely to get some kind of rejection at this level.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Good morning, Brian. Great to see a day trader here giving us more levels. Day trader, I love it, man. Really appreciate you throwing your levels out on a regular basis here. CrowdStrike 495 upside. That's kind of the resistance area that we have outlined by the trend line, give or take $1 or $2, really close. 511 as another upside target here. Downside 455. 455 is going to be right in here. Did I make sure I get that right? Yeah, 455 is going to be right in here. That was the back test of the previous high breakout. There we go. Okay. Good stuff there. Good question. We're going to keep rolling here. Oh, we got time. I don't feel rushed. This is awesome. Next year is going to be Lulu, ticker LULU, Lima Unicorn, or Uniform, excuse me, Lima Uniform. Lululemon here down about 0.2 here, 0.17%. They also report Thursday after hours. Like I was telling you earlier, that Thursday day is going to be the big day. The big note here is that if you take a look, we are sitting right at a key level. This 315, 316 area, this is a volume point of control going all the way back to 2022. This was a very clear consolidation area from January of 2022 till March of 2023. I know we went up and down, but we basically traded around this area before finally taking the next leg up and then another leg up again. We did find some pretty awesome support here at 250, so the move back to where we're at seemed fairly constructive. We recaptured the 200. We consolidated right around the 200. We are there right now. That value is 318.43. We're actually slightly beneath it. Of all of the stocks that we just took a look at here for earnings, this one, based on the chart, is the one I like the most. Now, will that matter? Will it play out here? We'll see. A couple of levels above this that we should be made aware of. This 331 level going to be pretty important. That's your 100-day. That also represents the recent top. 13, do you have anything here on Lululemon at all?
Well, I know you like the trend line, so get ready to draw another one.
I love it.
Let's go with the high from December 2023 through the high of January 2025. Uh-huh.
December to here, I see it. I see it. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. Mm-hmm. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Here you go.
So since you're bullish, that's the trend I'd be eyeing for upside. We're going to have to recapture the 200 and then break above the 500 in order to get to this. So I don't know that we'll see it soon, but maybe earnings could help accelerate that timeline. The thing is that we've already closed beneath the 200-day SMA 3 times now in the past week, and today we're going to open beneath it. So I would need to see a recapture of the 200-day SMA pretty soon. Otherwise, I think we're going to have another date with the 20-day SMA down at 305.
Okay. Really good stuff here from Big B's. Lulu usually dumps after the earnings on Friday and typically has a great day thereafter, which would be Monday. I'll be looking at the morning after Lululemon earnings. Until then, it's a no trade for me, waiting for that IV to come in. Big B's love this. Love this. Okay. Hood is all that we have left here. Iraq, good morning. It's good to see you. Did y'all mention Pony this morning? It has news, might make for a good ride this morning. I did not. Pony, again, one of those AI names off the Tuna AI list. Here's where we left off on Pony. 13, either you had me draw this or this one just was obvious or something.
I may have, come on. I made you draw it.
Okay, so we ran up to that area as resistance. It looks like it's trying to do that here again. So Iraq, just starting right off the top here with what you're saying, might make for a good ride this morning. Well, we can clearly say that 2050 or 20 and a half here is going to have some pretty interesting resistance. This is up just about 1% here today. We had a decent move on Friday with decent volume, so maybe the relative volume scans will pick this up. Mind the trend line, though, right? Mind the trend line. We'll see if we're able to get above that.
Look at a weekly with that. Zoom in a little bit so you can see those candles. I'd be careful.
Yeah. Yep.
It doesn't look great to me. I'd be careful. Maybe this is good news. They're going to deploy over 1,000 robo taxis in Shenzhen. Maybe that's good news, but honestly, I don't like the way this chart looks. If I was a bull, I'd be hoping for and it's not a strategy, but I'd be hoping for a move back above 20 and a breakout of this trend line. But $20 seems to be a big resistance area. No closes above that, and since we had that big rise in February. So 3 different weeks, all trying to get over 20, unsuccessful. This doesn't look great to me.
It heard you because it literally started selling off and just snapped 19. There was a big bid there and it got absolutely deleted. So it clearly heard you talking about it. That's
Don't
fine.
say that.
Can't help it. All right. Hood was the other one on the list here. This has been a show favorite.
Thank you, Cinderella.
What's that?
I said, thank you, Cinderella. He's giving us 2-minute warning.
No problem. Hood has been a very, very popular stock for us. Look, I cannot help but look at the area. And furthermore, if you look at some of the recent trading action, when we pushed up to this area, which was a previous high, we've really been banging against this. Now, that's not to say if we get above this 66, 67 area, maybe we do print 70s and higher. But be mindful here. We are at a resistance area. The stock is almost on overbought territory here. Here's some more levels from our guy, day trader. Hood levels 65.28, which should act as a support if we're able to stay up here today. 70.39 and 73.34 are the next levels above. Folks, I'll just say this. I don't know what your trade plan is, but this would be a breakout here. These levels that day trader is giving you here, these would represent sell targets for me, at least on partial, to start booking some of that.
Let me ask day trader, did you get pretty much all those levels from August 4th, 2021? Because I know that the 70.39, that's the close that day. So I'm just kind of curious if that's where you're getting all those levels from, which, would make sense to me. Oh, and we're open.
I love how the producer sent me a message that we're open literally as the market was opening. Well done, producer.
Real quick on Hood. We talked about this being a cup with handle, or potentially being a cup with handle that's forming. So I'd like to see this come down to around 55.75. That would be a good pullback for the handle, and we'll see what happens after that. So I think that if we are going to get that bullish formation, we need to come back in, to the downside. Okay,
day trader here answering you extensions, and then August 4th, 2021 high of 70.39.
Okay, because that's interesting. That 70.39 that was the close that day.
Okay, right. We are open. Interesting move here out of the open. Apple straight up off that open. IRD, Izzy, I know that you were asking about this one. This came back in after that initial pump. I do have the high here on our IRD, 246. Really, we're beneath the VWAP, so we really need to recapture that. We'll see if 141 gives it some support there.
So far, none of these movers that we looked at are really doing a whole lot. Maybe Lyra, LYRA, is trying to push higher, but not really.
Pony's down another $2 from when you started talking about it.
Oh, stop it. Let's see here. Lyra actually
might be going.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to, for sure. At least come up to this trend line. If you want to draw a trend line there, we're coming right up to it. I don't think I need to explain where it is.
No, you sure don't. This is literally jumping off the page. I'm literally looking at it as you're talking, and then you said trend line. It was like, let's go. Here we are. We stopped right there.
Yeah, pretty close.
Stopped right there. Ondis continuing to push higher here. RCAT also on the list. So what's RCAT doing? Drone plays trading up here as well. Ondis, big spot there at 140. We talked about that being a huge spot. We are actually printing there. Oh, good heavens. Let's go. Could not break it. We'll see 140, 141 going to be that key spot here today. We'll see if that falls. All right. Interesting day right out of the gate so far.
Oh, yeah.
Apple still trading higher. PanW trading higher. That PanW is making a move for that 200. If anyone's in that, that's going for 200. Lyra's still, that's Ogen. Ogen finding some support there at that 15 EMA.
TQQQ, that's really blasting off here. That might be setting up a good SQQQ trade here. That was, by the way, SQQQ and TQQQ, those were great on Friday, especially toward the end of the day. Absolutely fantastic move. So let's see what we get here out of SQQQ. We're currently...
Okay, I like this.
We're currently not that far away from where it needs to be. It needs to be like $1.15, $1.25 away from VWAP. We're not that far away yet, but we are getting some good movement to the downside here. All right. So other than that, looks like FAAS, that went down to its 200 EMA. IRD, that just continues to go down after that pop up to 245 in the pre-market. BMGL, that came down to a support area around 752. Vera, that is more or less sideways, but also lower. Just seems to be continuing to compress. Lira, we had a pop to that trend line, and then it's just kind of like going back and forth between the where it opened at. So nothing there quite yet.
Tesla's trading up. APLD getting a lot of mentions here from the chat. That did. Oh, this went ham. Grats to all of you. DS, Jared. Let's go, guys. Good stuff there. Day trader, Ondas, next fib level 148. That's in play here. Ondas now 143, continuing to trade higher. Good stuff there as well. CoreWeave, how did we get this far into the show without mentioning CoreWeave? Thank you for bringing us back, Kathy. Look at this. Good Lord. This is just huge. Market, by the way, straight up out of the open. I don't know if this continues, but so far, this is straight up out of the open. 147 there on Ondas. We might be going for that 148 level there. My next, since I was able to actually take some off the table and book some gains, my next sell spot should be in a 2-handle. I'm going to try and wait this out. We'll see how it goes. 149 now for Ondas. Boy, oh boy. Tesla at the highs as well. NBIS, which had a very interesting morning here today. This was getting sold off earlier. Nebius Group shares trading lower after the company announced it raised $1 billion in convertible notes. What's notable here is this went all the way down to about $34. We're a buck and a half up off those lows. NBIS. Chris, I know you've been trading this one a lot recently. Are you still?
Hey, nice job, N. He's done.
You're going to get a register ring and a 1-up for leveling up. Good stuff, folks.
APLD still climbing, looking for 10.
More significant levels for Ondas, 174 and 199. Okay, so you know what? Your 199 level, day trader, that might be another sell level. So good in there, 13. Sorry.
Lyra, come back up to the trend line. Watch
on screen, baby.
Yeah, well, on screen. Looks like it's trying to break this trend line here. Remember, this has a float of just slightly over 1 million, so this could get pushed around pretty easily. If we do break, man, I'd be looking for at least 39.50. That's near the high this morning. Don't know how much this will run or where it'll go, but that's one of the earlier levels.
Thank you, Chris. I'll be out of NBIS at 35.71. And look for a pull. We'll start taking profit in IRD around 171. Thank you, Chris.
Good.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Sorry, he's mentioning you, Amy. This is a good mention because we just got the tensions between the U.S. and China trade war kind of heating up again. Typically around the critical minerals, so and rare earths. So I think. This is one of the reasons why you're seeing this one. We probably might get some other movement in some of these other names. I guess not. MP Materials is down. So antimony apparently is the play right now. It's up 13.5%.
Okay. Ondas did pull there. Nothing to worry about, at least not yet. When you have a minute, can you take a look at CAPT? Captain is what I like to call this. We sure can. This is Capped Vision. What's going on here?
Capped Vision? Nice.
Well, this did pop here in the pre-market. Did we have news on this? What's going on with this one? NASDAQ notice regarding delayed Form 20F filing.
Oh, is this one of those compliance plays? Seems like it.
LED display cases is what this company done. Capped Solutions. I mean, maybe on a move through VWAP, I don't really know what the thesis is here, to be quite honest. Ryan Milligan, you were asking earlier if we surely reverse today. I could see that, yes. In fact, just to kind of go along with what 13 was talking about earlier, I will be watching SQQQ for entry today.
Yeah, Lion, I think they're both the antimony play, and UAMI is the one that's up right now, not PPTA. But I think they're both great for the antimony play. I wouldn't buy just one. I'd be in both at this stage. I mean, I only knew about UAMI, and I was interested in that one because it was so down. It had such potential to run, and boy, did it. Not that PPTA didn't. I mean, that's had a good move since 2024 started, but same thing. I think they're both good.
Good stuff there, Sean. I'm glad it's working out for you. Just to be clear, I'm not trading it back and forth. I have been holding this for a long time, although recently did make a sale. Nonetheless, it's giving us some opportunity. Good to hear it's working for you. SQQQ continuing to pull here, 23.49. The VWAP there is at 23.90. So we'd like maybe another 40 cents here. I would consider the way I would play SQQQ is I'd be looking at this week's calls. So just kind of speaking to what Ryan was saying, maybe we do reverse here. I would just be playing that as kind of a contrarian, almost a hedge play to some of the longs that we have. Smoke Tuna saying Lira watching for volume here. So we did move through the trend line. There it is.
There it is. Yep.
That happened fast.
It's going to halt. It's going to halt.
34.67 your halt price if it holds.
Yep. Oh.
It did not hold.
No, it didn't. It's okay. Keep going. Go ahead.
And Jay, you were mentioning here, oh gosh, a lot of red to green in large cap tech, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla. Jay, before you got here today, one of the things that I had said was that I would kind of be looking for a move higher here. We were up off the lows in the pre-market. We didn't really have a whole lot of bad stuff there on the horizon. Looks like we're getting that at least early here. Not been a bad start to the Monday.
No, Lion, I understand that, and it's great that it had a good run. But here's the thing: UAMI in 2 months, not a few, doubled. So, like I'm saying, they're both good. I mean, look, you got the low here from March, like let's say March 4th, and then up to April 24th. That more than doubled in less than a month. Anyway, now we're halted here with Lira. So I think they're both good.
They just needed to push it right back to that 34.67 handle and then halted it there.
And Lira may end up, when it unhalts, it may end up just trying for that pre-market high of 39.53. So we'll see what we end up getting out of this. This is really good break of the trend line here. Congratulations, everybody that was in that one.
Steve, take your victory lap, man. Take your flowers and your register ring here. Elf, did you play this on the earnings when this dropped and then went ripped higher? This actually curling back up here now.
APLD 990 knocking on the door at 10.
Oh my gosh, what a move in APLD. This wasn't on my watch list really at all here today. Nice stuff for anyone that's trading this stuff all around here today, to be honest.
Some stocks are going to completely tank on Wednesday afternoon. Says Cinderella.
Any reason for that you're assigning to that? Izzy's out here scalping Amazon. That's how I know that we're not in a simulation. The sun came up and Izzy is scalping Amazon. It's actually a nice little move right out of the gate there in Amazon. Izzy, what do you think on Uber again? Is this a no touch for you for the time being? We had more news here about the robo-taxi and how Uber might get eaten up in that robo-taxi battle. Tell you what, Uber never went for that 100. It went right up to the trend line here, and I thought this was for sure 100 magnet, even called that, and it didn't. I'll tell you what, if it holds here, though, maybe that sets up for another move higher. You guys are also mentioning UNH, which has been a huge trade for us recently. UNH, this moving pretty handily above that 300 level. We're also taking out a trend line here now.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Still think that 20-day SMA is coming. We're headed right for it.
What value do you have for that 20-day SMA?
327.97. Call it 328 if you want to round up. Nice break of the trend. see if it can hold above it. Now, I would anticipate that it does trade up and maybe even hit that 20 SMA and then come back down to back test the trend line. We do see back test the trend lines once they're broken quite frequently. So it wouldn't be surprising if we did get that movement over the course of a couple of weeks. Wouldn't be surprising to me.
Right.
Buying all dips in Amazon moving forward. Izzy, man, you got to be the biggest Amazon bull I know. Not that I'm disagreeing with you. I own Amazon myself. I think it's going to be great. But man, you just you absolutely. It seems like you really like this company, and so I mean, not trying to be mean or anything like that. It's just that you have been on this thing.
One of the reasons I keep highlighting that is because Izzy, it seems to me, has two pretty core positions that he does a really good job trading around. Sometimes when it comes to my core positions, if it's a core, I'm like okay just holding it, and I feel like because I watch it so much, I actually might be pretty adept at trading around the core, and I feel like I could do that a little bit better. Izzy, it looks like you do that quite well. CLF, by the way, we talked about this trading up here on the steel tariffs. This is pretty much flat, still shy of 750 in there.
What's
pulled before reaching 10? Sorry, 13.
No problem. Sorry, I was trying to get in there and ask what time do you have on the Lira halt?
Lira halt 9:39:53. So
we're almost gonna unhalt here.
Yep.
All right. Lock and load.
Almost there.
IRD almost there. IRD saying IRD knife says sideshow T. What else is moving here? Okay, so we are getting that pull from APLD back down to VWAP. Let's see if that holds up. FAAS. Trying to find a bottom here. Don't know if that's happened yet. IRD, man, this is the one that had that big out of nowhere.
Lira is open, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but that moved higher and then pulled a little.
That's okay.
40, I think, is your next spot higher here. LYRA.
Man, this is a good one. Oh, Denise would like to look at FDX. Do that. Oh, and Ollie. You got some pull here in Lira, probably back down to VWAP or even the trend line. Be careful. That was a nice move out of that halt. Might not be done though. Been holding APLD since 405. Man, Tom, you get it, man. You get it.
See, this is kind of what I was saying earlier about how if we had some more diversification out of the Magnificent Seven, especially into small caps. Tom Lee made some rounds saying that small caps might be good if the market continues to trade up. I don't know if you caught those comments yet, 13. In any case, these small caps, this is one of the reasons why I'm excited. I'd love to be able to hold a small stock that you believe in from 4 to 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, with the rates being what they are, it makes it real hard to hold those because they are so sensitive to borrowing.
Yeah, no question. And if you believe that rates are going to go down, that should be an added tailwind for it.
Now, I'm sorry, Denise, you were asking about Ollie. They have earnings tomorrow before the market opens, and they're trading up. But looking at a 5-minute chart, it seems like they're running into some resistance here, getting a series of upper shadows that may pull this down. I don't know what this company does.
This is like a bargain outlet.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that actually might not be a bad idea if we, see a weakening consumer.
Closeout merchandise and excess inventory.
Okay.
Now, 13, on the flip side of that, if they don't guide well because they didn't pick up a lot of excess inventory, might that be a read on retailer inventory that we could factor in?
I would. My first thought is maybe some of those other retailers, Lara's about to push higher, I think. The thing is that some of those retailers might not be willing to give up inventory because of the tariff situation, and they might have a whole lot of it. They're still trying to unload. I don't know. That's just a thought that I would have, because I don't know if these other retailers are going to be able to replenish their stores if they end up moving, all their or a lot of their inventory off to Ollie or other bargain outlets. So I guess I would have to just wait and see what the earnings report has to say. But for me, I mean, this thing, it looks like it is coming down right now, but I don't have a whole lot of information on this one. I don't know the company that well, but I would think that if we do end up seeing a weakening consumer, this could be one that may end up doing pretty well.
Okay. Okay, Joe, any idea why Schwab won't let me buy Lira options? No. Does it give you the message that you have to call? Because a lot of those, when it says that you can't buy them, if you call them, they'll let you buy them, and then you can close them from your position. But I'm just speculating. Okay, what was the other one? FDX? Did you want to do that? I did notice here Lira, by the way, is trading up $35. So not quite at that $40 high, but Lira, again, turning around here. Here's your
had a nice bounce off VWAP. It went down to VWAP and bounced right off it. So there's that, but it still needs to start clearing some of these highs it just recently made after this break over the trend line. And as far as FDX goes, let's see what I've got here with the chart. Nice drop. This looks like it could end up trading lower based on the way this price action here on the 5-minute chart's shaping up. Let me look at the daily chart here. Okay, so looks like we've got a rejection of 2 moving averages, the 20 and the 50-day SMA. To me, it looks like this is heading lower. I would say that if there's going to be support coming, it's going to probably be at about 214. That's kind of where I would pin the earliest level of support. I'm not saying that that's going to hold. It's going to hold above there, but on the way down, it might provide some support to where you get a reversal for a short period of time before it eventually heads lower. So if you were to draw like a 214 level, you can see, like, based on where it just was in the past couple of months, why I like that area. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is as clear as day, 13. This goes all the way back.
Yeah. Okay. I don't really look at the most recent price action, but yeah, when you even look further back, it kicks in as well. So anyway, 214 is what I like for FDX. And we're starting to get a pull here down, back down to VWAP and Lira.
Okay, I also see that the market is pulling a little bit here. Let me go back to my main workspace here. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Actually, Lira is going to halt here at 32.03 if this holds. It's not halted yet. There it is. Now it is halted.
Yep.
So you're getting a pull. Where did that pull finish here? So we're actually just above the trend line and the VWAP. That open will be interesting. Here's a quick look at your SPY. This did pull back and lost the VWAP. Ryan, you were saying earlier about that reversal. Ryan, let's go, little king.
Oh, don't even tell me. Hold on a second.
What?
Okay, I don't know if you had seen my post last week about this really interesting level in SPY, 589.60. It's just funny to me because I think it must have been on Tuesday. I was talking in the happy hour chat, and I was like, I made some comment about this level, and I was like, this is interesting. I'm going to put this on my chart. And ever since then, that has been a support and resistance level for some reason. I do not know why, but it just looked interesting to me, and it's kind of been the resistance area this morning.
I was going to say that's exactly where we pulled from here, and it's causing pulls in other stocks here. Tesla, most notably. By the way, I'm seeing Tesla options kind of chase this move down. Looks to be both on the call and the put side here on Tesla. Let me see if I can throw this filter on here. Get some better flow. We'll weed out some of the noise there.
There is some sideways consolidation in the SPY from the pre-market that the price is coming down to. There could be some support coming there so we might see a reversal here in SPY. Could be temporary though. I still think that if we do lose that consolidation area in from the pre-market, we're going to hit the previous all-time high of 586.12.
Webcoin just simply saying June is off to a good start. And I agree with you. It certainly is, especially if we factor in yesterday, because that was unbelievable. INM here, by the way, it does. So Will's asking INM to reach back to the pre-market high question mark. Well, I'll tell you what, Will, the formation here looks pretty good. We're really trying to get above this $7. We've done a good job holding the VWAP there at 6. I think if we get above 7, 8, and then what is this high up here? 8 and 950. Those might be next there. Well, I'm not saying it's going to go there, but that's kind of what it looks like here.
Yeah, to me, $8 looks like the big question mark. That we've had prints above that, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get above 8 and then go on to 943. It's that because we have no closes above 8. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Is we printed, but we haven't really held above there. So
there's your move through 7.
Yeah, let's see if we can break 8. If we do, then I think that 943 is on the table, maybe even more.
It looks like several of you are mentioning NIVF. Is that a penny stock or something? What? No, it's not a penny stock. Wow. So there it is on my scanner. Just took a sec. This thing ramping here. Did we have news? What's going on here with this new gen IVF? Oh, yes. Monday, June 2nd, they're going to invest $30 million in Solana staking. No wonder this is up 65%.
And
let's see if the PR has any more information on this. Give me a second. Go ahead, 13. Sorry.
It has some short interest as well, but because the float's low, so as low as it is, it only has one day to cover. But still, could be a potential squeeze. Well, now depending on how this candle closes, we can draw a trend line. But I think there may be some better things to trade. FAAS has done nothing but go down this morning.
Interesting here. I'm going to do my best here, folks. No disrespect to this gentleman or anyone else out there. Mr. C. Wing Fung Alfred. I hope I got that right. SWFA, Swiffa. Maybe I'll call him Swiffa for short. Anyway, Chairman CEO of NewGen commented, quote, this investment, this is for NIVF's investment into Solana, quote, this investment represents a natural evolution of our digital asset strategy and positions us strategically within the burgeoning digital asset space. The decision to scale our investment from our initial $1 million Bitcoin purchase to this substantial $30 million Solana commitment reflects our growing conviction in digital assets as a legitimate asset class. We believe Solana's robust ecosystem and staking opportunities provides compelling value creation potential for our shareholders while diversifying our investment portfolio in this transformational technology sector. We are eager to reap the rewards. I read that, day trader. Honestly, I had in my head, I saw your little avatar fist pumping as hard as it could over and over again, because this is exactly what you want to see for your Solana bull case. Also, notably out of this, the staking for Solana, that was the initial reason why I got interested in that as another coin. Interesting to see companies now saying the same thing.
Izzy was mentioning IMNN to me. It looks like he's watching it. I think that this probably will come down to like around 280, 275.
Here we go with this damn ticker. What is the effing ticker for this?
I am as in Mary, and then two N's, November.
I'm sorry, I'm bad. That's what I'll leave it at.
No, it's because I can't
speak. Not get these I, M, and N tickers correct, for heaven's sake.
No, it's because I speak like an idiot. But anyway, I, M, and N. This thing is coming down to, I think, around 275, 280.
Lira open and plunging at its VWAP.
Ooh, looks like that's going to come down to the 65 EMA. If it doesn't get support at $25.
Smoke Tuna mentioning that this MFI can go here. We would really want to see
INVF. Sorry, that's
got it.
Okay, go ahead.
No, NIVF.
NIVF. Yep, that's trying to push into new session highs. The pre-market high is 450. And then you were also mentioning NVVE, right? That was getting going here. That did have a nice pop 5 minutes ago, up to 168. Pull a little bit, trying to push higher. That's already taken out the pre-market high, so that's pretty nice.
Day trader, enjoy your day at work. I'm not trolling. Have a good day, I guess is what I should have said instead of enjoy your day at work. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe it does. Now I'm reading into what I said a little too much there. By the way, RID, this is one of the movers from today. Sad trombone as this comes all the way back in. INM still holding 7.
I got to pull an NIVF. Another potential wick here, but we still have 2.5 minutes left in this candle. So
Lira bouncing off of its VWAP. Sorry, 13.
No worries. You have where do you have your VWAP at for Lira?
VWAP in the broker on Lira has an exact value. Come on, has an exact value of 27.23. Here in TradingView, I have that at 27.34.
Well, mine's very different. Mine's 32.50. So
you're beneath that. That is substantial. Yeah.
Yeah. So folks, use your broker's VWAP. That's all I will say on that. Don't try to figure out where ours is, because different brokers are going to calculate it differently.
And there's another really good point that you're making there, 13, if I may. The VWAP that I'm looking at here in TradingView, I'm noting, but when I actually go to execute to trade, I'm looking at my broker, and thus I'm actually using my broker's VWAP more there. So INM new high, guys.
All right.
Okay, so that $8 level is the next resistance area, and then I don't see much at 9. Next one here, what 9? What's the top of this candle? 9.44.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get our metric on the SQQQ that we wanted, but it had a really nice reversal after hitting 23.44.
I was just going to say this to me. First of all, I know we didn't. Maybe we need to adjust. Maybe we need to evolve. Maybe we're not getting the swings that we used to get. 13. I don't know, but
this is a 50-cent move. It's just a 50-cent move that we're looking at here.
Yeah, I will say though, as SQQQ was plunging and as the market was trading up, several chatters here were wondering if there's a reversal. Ryan, you're the one that called it exactly. A reversal, surely? Question mark. Yeah, that's what we got. Kind of wish that we actually, or that I took that one, but. That's exactly what we got.
I was more on the type of move that we got on Friday. That's what I would like to see, because if you look at what happened on Friday, we had these highs in the SQQQ that were being made in the pre-market and shortly after we opened. That created a little trend line that we ended up going up to and breaking out of. And man, what a run that go on. And that was a great time to get into the TQQQ, because it spent the rest of the day going up. That was a really, really, that's the type of movement I want to see out of SQQQ. Today, didn't get that, but it's all right. If you manage to catch some, that's fine. Trade it how you're going to trade it. But for me, I needed to see something more along the lines of what we got on Friday.
Lira here, this was a pretty decent bounce from its VWAP here, but it ran into resistance again at the trend line. Actual volume sticks on this don't look great. Maybe this might be ending.
NIVF trying another shot to push through these highs it's making in the regular session around 380.
Love Tuna's comment here about chasing the volume but not the stock. Love that. Love that, Tuna. Izzy mentioning that Tesla is down. This reversed hard, by the way. Hard. We started talking about this when I was looking at some of the put flow there, but man, look how this ended up resolving. There. What? Did I click on the wrong ticker again? Oh, Ryan, come on. Get it together. Here's your Tesla chart. Taking out the pre-market lows. It'd be interesting to see how hard we're reversing here. We didn't get a piece of news, did we? I don't think so.
This is breaking the trend line from, that I got here on Tesla. But remember this range that I've liked in Tesla that I've been watching for. I'm waiting to see where we end up going here. 325 and 360 are the kind of the brackets that I have here for Tesla, and I'm waiting for one of those to fall. We did get a close above 360 back on Tuesday, but we closed every day last week beneath that. So 360 didn't hold. Now we're coming down to 325. We have the 20-day SMA just before that. So if we lose that, then we're hitting 325. I'm still maintaining wherever we start closing over or under, whether it be over 360 or under 325, I think that's the direction we go.
Okay. Chris mentioned that Charlie was squawking those construction numbers. I was just taking a look at it. I have that data here. You have the construction spending month over month for April -0.4 versus a positive 410 estimate. The prior read was -8, which was revised down from -5. The U.S. ISM manufacturing PMI for May, 48.5 versus the 49.3 estimate. The prior read was 48.7. ISM manufacturing prices, 69.4 versus 70.2. The prior read was 69.8. We are not getting inflation creeping up.
Yeah, and then we have FOMC meeting. What is it? Not this week. Is it next week?
I don't have it on for this week. I think you might be right on that. Yeah.
It's next week. Let me double check. I think it's like the 11th and 12th. Let me double check though. It is going to be the 17th and 18th. So I was not correct there.
Not next week, the week after is what it is. Okay, got it. CLF, this after the tariff news, this actually might be curling. Take a look here really quick at NUE, which was also moving on that. This actually reversing a little bit. NUE.
NVVE knife down to VWAP.
Tuna mentioning that Lira is not holding. So indeed, Lira, it got rejected at that trend line 13. That trend line did it again. It did it again. We actually came back down to VWAP here. See if we end up losing that.
Yeah, that was my only trade today. Was that move through the trend line?
Okay. Look at her head. So someone earlier was asking about Dollar Tree, if I'm not mistaken.
Just so you know, the TQQQ was a $1.12 away from its VWAP, and it's putting in a big reversal. Just wanted to flag that it's didn't get quite as extended away as we'd like, but it may have been enough for the market. I don't know that we're going to completely turn around and go higher than 70.88 that we just hit in the regular session, but if we get back above VWAP, then I think that we could. So starting
Lion here mentioning that too many of those small companies that claim they're working on AI in their business are going to end up bankrupt. Yeah, that I think is a certainty. You might get a pop early, but it's, there's going to be some consolidation in that space. There's going to be winners, but there's certainly going to be losers as well.
I think this is .com 2.0.
Okay. Well, then that means there's going to be a lot of them.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to have big market impact like the .com 1.0 had?
Oh, yeah.
So
I think there's
going to be a lot of stuff to play off that then.
I think there'll be too many names, concentrated in these junkier AI stocks, and they're going to lose money. I think that could certainly happen. By the way, Jane Smith saying Zim looking pretty good. I think Zim is going to probably perform pretty well as shipping rates potentially rise. So once again, let me just throw out the Drury link so folks at home can keep an eye on those container costs. Oh, man.
All right. Real quick here. I just had to highlight Quantum Vortex here. Working on AI equals using ChatGPT to write an email. This really rings true, Quantum. I would not be shocked to hear that there were companies out there that said, yeah, we're using AI now, and literally it's just their employees writing emails with it. I wouldn't even be surprised at that. Anyway, let me get down to the Dollar Tree chart here. I hope that person is still around. I know that you wanted to take a look at the Dollar Tree chart going into earnings here. It is kind of an interesting daily chart. Well, I think the interesting part about it is that we had these series of gaps created in August of 2024, and the first gap to the upside here was filled. The second one, however, remains unfilled, and we have that filling up here at about 94 and change, right? It's not quite 95. Yeah, 94 and a quarter is where that gap fills to the upside. That's yet to happen. The other thing here is that we've kind of run up to this area here about $92 and stopped. So it looks like this does want to close, but it just doesn't have the gusto to do it now. Maybe the earnings is what provides that here. But Dollar Tree 13, don't they have way more exposure to China? And with more stuff heating up here with the China trade spat, I'm not sure this is a great earnings play.
Well, I'm looking at what the I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but I'm looking at what the estimates are for what their earnings report's going to show, and it looks like the consensus that they're going to be doing 4.54 billion in sales and have an EPS of 120. That being much lower than their last report, and that estimate, I mean, there must have been something that I don't know what it was. I haven't been following Dollar Tree, but there must have been something that has really changed analysts' outlook on their sales, because this is like almost half of what they were estimating last quarter. And this is I just don't know if this is correct or not. $4.5 billion. What happened with this? Why are they projecting that? But anyway, if it seems like they could end up beating that, and if they do, then maybe this is a turnaround story.
Okay.
We do have a golden cross that just happened last month. So, I'd say maybe.
We also, and I've commented on this before, we also had 2 price target adjustments ahead of these earnings, one to 100, the other to 105.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both about from that $90 area. So I don't have a position here on Dollar Tree. You know what? This is 2 days. This might be one we could ask Anne-Marie about. There are a couple of stocks that we can ask Anne-Marie about this week and maybe set up some free trades for you folks. We'll do that here tomorrow.
Well, hey, look, TQQQ trying to turn around, but still not back above VWAP.
Does that mean we're getting an SQQQ setup or nah?
Well, I think what I was referring to earlier was how the TQQQ was pretty far away from its VWAP, just not as much as we were looking for. But at the same time, I was saying maybe that's enough for this to turn around. We are getting a bit of a turnaround, but it hasn't retaken some levels, and one of those levels has to be the VWAP. Otherwise, I think we still go lower.
Yeah, Lion Atlas, I'm with you. I prefer Dollar General too, most notably because I actually have traded that a couple of times with good success. Great success.
Great success.
I was going to say, I think I might still have this on here, but I'm not going to poke around and try to find it because I'll end up playing something I don't want to play.
Whoa, it was very nice.
Now that one would be you know what? That might be a game that might be a game that we can play, where we play sampler roulette, where I'm basically just playing things out of the sample. What do I got right here? Day and night. Oh yeah, little Kid Cudi drop right there. We'll take that. Okay. Anyway, I'm tangenting again. Let me stop doing that. Let me actually look through the list. APLD, nice little move back through its VWAP, back towards the highs. We didn't quite print 10 the first time. Also, as far as Lira goes, looks like this is kind of firming, maybe. It's not really breaking down yet. We're still under the trend line. This might be one where we get a little bit of a trade in the afternoon. If the volume creeps up, we'll see.
Sideshow and Smoke Tuna mentioning INM.
That's at the top of the list. I got it.
$8 is what it's trying to go for. We pointed that out, how we have not seen any closes above that yet. Looking for $8 right now. It looks like we hit $8 a couple of times in the past 10, 15 minutes, rejected at $8. So I'm telling you, that's the breakout level. That's the level we need to get above and close above.
Told you 7, 8, and 9.45. We've taken 7. We are approaching 8. Actually, we've banged on 8 twice there to your point, 13. Yeah. We'll see if we get that. That puts 9.44 as your next level in play. NVTS getting mentioned. Smoke Tuna doesn't think this is ready, but this was a big runner from last week. Interesting. We almost retraced that move. Boy, these pre-market lows put us near a full retracement of that move. So, Tuna, this isn't curling yet? Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you for I'm sorry. I tried to get to this the first time that you asked this. Big time shot. In fact, register ring for Jay. We're also going to give you a one-up. We talked about this. So Tempest AI, the big move down here was from the Spruce Point Capital short report. Jay, you were traveling at the time. You still had the wherewithal to send me a message, which I repeated on the show. I had told you folks that Spruce Point, one of those that not great after the initial move. Jay, I believe the quote you used was, quote, give it a few days. Well, take a look at this. That call couldn't have been crispier. This is going higher here. Congrats on that, Jay. Thanks for even though you didn't make the show, you still messaged and I still got it out there. Appreciate that. Congrats to anyone trading TEM to the long side.
Real quick on NTST, I was just taking a look at that, and for some reason I had the weekly chart up, but it really did provide some clear levels. $20 and $23 look very interesting to me if we can get a break above the 200-day SMA. Looks like 18 is the current level that it's trying to hold over right now. So I think if we see it close over 18
This is
today,
NVTS?
yes.
It's $5. It's going to go to 18. Wow. Sorry, I just want to make sure I was correct. I'm just making sure.
NVST. That was my bad. NVST. These tickers. Anyway,
I was going to
now
say
that you have the right
they
one,
might have been talking about a different one. This is low volume AF.
Yeah, MVST. Maybe that's. Let me see here.
Yeah, I think you just mixed up.
Which one is the right one now? I don't know.
The right one is the one that moved last week. It was NVTS.
Okay.
Oh, good heavens. Do the charting on NVTS really quickly. ATL Russ, I jumped in TEM because of that. Jay, you're helping somebody already make some money on that. Really good stuff there. I think there was actually several folks that were looking to trade TEM that day, if I recall correctly. Love it.
Well, I've got a line already put here for NVTS. That's at 420. When you look at where the price is at last week and the week before, that was the support area. We're coming down to it. I think that 420 area is going to be in play if we lose the 500-day SMA.
Sorry, I just saw a video here for the best pizza in Chicago from the Barstool Gang. And it's this place that I've never tried. So now I have homework.
NVVE just had a pop up to 180, and then it did a 180. Oh, well done, ATL. ATL had a trade in TEM that worked out.
Yep. That's still working. That's what I'm saying. I love what our group is doing here.
Lion is done for the day. He's got 4 winners.
Is that the magic number, Lion? Four, and you're done?
He's 4 and out the door.
4 and out the door. There we go. I was looking for something to rhyme, and I didn't come up with the obvious one. Webcoin mentioning CLBR, Column Bear Acquisition. What is this? Take care of yourself, Lion. Have a good rest of your Monday. What is this? Oh, it's a SPAC. So I don't have any other news on this.
Wait, what's going on with
CLBR here? This is a Webcoin mention. It's got 17 million shares in the flow. I don't know what it is. It's moving though. Grab a gun. What? Hey, I got to figure this out.
Is
the
okay,
company? There's a company literally called Grab a Gun.
There's a Trump angle to this.
How did you find that out already?
I read the headlines. It's down on Tuesday, May 27th.
Okay. So that was a different one. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is moving on the PR here from this morning regarding the amended S4, and there's a presentation.
It's going public. They're merging this month.
Oh my God, the ticker's going to be Pew.
So we have Pow and Pew.
We are for sure trading this. I am just get ready, folks. we are for sure trading a stock if its name is Pew and it's about guns.
And IVF just broke the trend line. I don't even think we drew that one, but from 450 up through the highs that we were making at around 10 o'clock, we just broke through that trend line.
I will make a note of this. Thank you, Webcoin, for bringing this one. CLBR. I will do some more looking into that.
Let's see here.
By the way, really quick, I don't know if I've kind of updated a number of folks on this one. It hasn't been exciting, so I'm not sure if anyone's still in it. Did anyone trade Chewy with me when we initially remember 13 when we were talking about this going to 40 and you said, oh, it's for sure going to 40.
Yeah.
And it went to 40.
There too.
Yeah. And it went to 40, just like you said. I was trying to leave the rejection part out, but appreciate you for throwing that in there. This did end up breaking 40 and going higher. 45 was what I was looking for. We actually went more than that, 46.35. I'm on the second leg of this trade and I am now I'm almost on the offer. So those contracts paid $2 for the second leg. We sold and rolled these contracts from the 40 to the 45. We kept them in June. Got 18 days till expiry. We paid $2 for that call. They are a 335 mark right now. So these are almost a double here. So if anyone else took that, grats if you had that.
NIVF, that went up to almost 440. I think 439 is the high ad is. That was really close to the pre-market high of 450. This thing now coming off that high right now, but really good move through the trend line.
Okay. Good stuff there. And you know what? You're correct, 13. I didn't have enough time to draw that trend line, but it is as obvious as it gets. This was jumping off the page there. Jay saying Chewy, most hated move from 25. Jay, this is so true. This is so I was nibbling on this position, and like Chewy generally, this is a company that I just absolutely love. And I love my animals and I use Chewy myself. This is one that I generally play with some more size. But to your point here, I didn't like the move. And I thought maybe we were a little overdone. Maybe there is some resistance at 40, which was very, very clear on the chart. So I'm with you on that. Did not take this in full trading size. Thankfully, it's working nonetheless. Where do you think the top is? By the way, on Chewy, Jay, or anyone else, Jay or anyone else.
So circling back to that CLBR real quick.
Really quick, Izzy's asking what ticker the gun one I can't see. It is CLBR. I believe that's standard for caliber, probably.
No, it's a Columbia acquisition.
Okay, CLBR, Izzy, that's the ticker. Sorry, go ahead, 13. Sorry.
So they intend to close this deal in the summer of 2025. Now, if they're being literal about that, that means that, yeah, it could happen this month, but not until later on, like after the 20th. So just, if they're really sticking to summer, it's going to be as early as June 20th, but as late as, I guess September. But anyway, that's just what I was looking at here, and just wanted to throw that out there. So it could be as early as this month, like they're saying, but I wouldn't expect it to be before the 15th.
Okay.
Roblox, $100 around the corner. Says Crow. Did they have earnings recently? Or has that happened yet? Well, I have insider selling on this one.
Jay here saying, depends on your time frame, Ryan. It still looks great in the short term, but it may need to rest. Jay, I like this. I'll tell you something here. If it rests right here in the short term, we'll add to this position and play some more upside, and we'll actually use the profits from the first two trades that we made so that we put ourselves in a position where we can't actually go backwards. I like that. Cinderella saying, Ryan, CLBR supports trigger locks. Look, anything to make the gun an inanimate object and not dangerous when it's not in use by someone trained, I'm fine with, to be quite honest with you. Fine with all of that type of stuff. Sorry, 13, get in there.
No, that's okay. I was just kind of looking at Roblox, and it looks like they did get $100 price targets. One from Citigroup. They got a BMO outperform rating, and the price raise to 95. So likely, that's helping lift this up to where it is now. But man, the insiders here just continue to sell this.
Real quickly, while 13's going off, Lira is curling and went through its VWAP at 27.21. I'll leave it on screen while you keep running that down, 13.
No, it's okay. I didn't really have a whole lot to add to that. Just a lot of insider selling, like all the time.
Jay saying, you are aware earnings are tomorrow. Yes, Jay, which a matter of fact, it would be ideal if we could close or trim this position going into earnings, especially since we're up and we've been nothing but up on this trade.
Which one is this?
Chewy.
Oh, Chewy. Gotcha. Okay.
CHWY. I should have covered.
A mover from this morning. Just keep an eye on it if you'd like. BMGL.
No, and time out. Jay, you had that wrong. 9 days for Chewy earnings. 9 days. Sorry about that. Get in there, 13.
BMGL. This one we were looking at earlier this morning. This is setting up to try and make a move over the 65 EMA. And you could probably even make a trend line with this one as well, starting from that 1132 high from this morning. We're we're kind of right up against this trend line right now. If we draw it up through the 1010 high, we need to see some big volume expansion happen like now.
Okay, well, we're at the decision point, and we're not seeing that. To be frank, we're also not seeing any carry through on that curl on Lira, at least not yet. I'm not sure that's over though. Cinderella, I'm a Chewy customer, so I know they're making some bank. I feel the same way about myself. Isn't that right, buddy? he's literally, he's so funny. He is sitting on the bird's stuff.
TQQQ moving again.
Chilling.
Moves through the BWAP. What else is looking good here? So IMNN just got some support from the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, but it's moving very slowly. I think it needs to really see some volume expansion if it's going to recapture the trend line that we drew on the underside.
Really quickly here, again, just following the chat. Sorry, 13. Izzy here. Look, folks, if you're interested in trading Amazon,
Izzy
is here every day. Give us some feedback. Do you need more help with entries? What can we do to help that? By the way, sold to close more calls there on Chewy. And that actually brings me into the next thing here. So first of all, anyone that wants to trade Amazon, we've got a daily Amazon trader in here. Let's get at him and see if we can help. Brian saying, Chewy takes all of my money. This is part of the reason why I like to trade Chewy, because if I make money from it, then I feel less bad about giving it back to the company. That's where I'm at right now. Jay saying, in that case, in the case that we have here with earnings being next week, don't let the winner turn into a loser. This is a big key. Remember, this is the second leg of this trade, so at this point, it would be impossible for that to happen. I did just trim some here. Maybe roll up and hedge, and I'm thinking I might do that too here. Before the earnings print, let's see what Chewy does. Maybe we'll use some of those profits for an earnings play. And if we end up losing the earnings play, well, at least we made money off the stock.
Yep, Brian pointing out that, and Gary as well, they're both pointing out that APLD is back up to where we were earlier this in this regular session, trying to get into 10. Be careful that we do not end up with a double top here. If we start to see, look at this concentration here at $10. There's a lot of sellers up there. We need to see some massive volume in order to break through that. If we cannot get that, I think this thing is coming back down, at the very least to VWAP. At the worst, probably down to maybe 750.
Hey, APLD, huge move there. Shout out, you guys mentioning RVYL. That popped over $1 into a halt.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what this is about here. Nice big old move. What is the price? Out of this halt, we might see 121. So this is a NASDAQ recompliance play. I don't know why it's moving all of a sudden, unless there's some PR or some headline that just hasn't made it across, the news feed here. If there is something coming, it might have to do with their delayed filing. Oh no, they did report. I'm sorry, they did report. This one we traded this one last week, didn't we?
APLD?
No, RVYL.
I did not. Maybe the group did. I did not mess with this one. This was a penny stock all of last week. I have no tickets on this.
No, you're right. I don't think we did, but it looks familiar. Anyway.
Zach asking about hedging here. I have to learn more about hedging. I have no idea about the concept. So the concept here, I can explain. I too have more to learn about it, because like the hedging percentage, like I don't have that figured out. I basically do it by feel. And there are plenty of days where the hedge is working and the rest of my port is getting destroyed, and it's not evened out yet. The premise here though is that, let's say you've got a bunch of stocks and your overall view long-term is these things are going to go higher. Well, you might not want to sell those stocks, but you think there might be a short-term move down. So you hedge that position by buying some short instruments to offset that, right? So if you think your core positions are going to go down because the market's going to get hit, well, then buy some short-term puts that can kind of hedge that and kind of keep you level or maybe even pay you more. This is what a lot of us and folks were doing around those Liberation Day headlines where the market just had some of those huge moves. You're basically putting both positions on and then taking off the ones that end up working. BNAI, this was a penny stock. I saw a couple of you folks mentioning this one. Ogin, this is another penny stock. What a disaster that was. INM lost its VWAP on the way back down. It just disappeared. I had UAMI on the scanner there. I know 13, you were mentioning that earlier. UAMI, this looks like a bull flag, intraday bull flagging here. Crow mentioning CLF. Cleveland Cliffs, that is looking, actually, this is trying to move higher too. That on the back of that steel tariff news. Here's the gun stock we were talking. I don't even know if I want to call it that. CLBR.
Man, you, Amy, there's a real interesting. I don't know what this is going to do. I feel like this could also go down, but really interesting spot 280 on you, Amy. That seems to be right about the point where the 20 and 50-day SMAs intersect. Also looks like a really interesting resistance area too. Let's see if we get out of UME 280. See if we can get clear that or not. If not, then I think we are going to come back in. Mike, you're saying, oh, hey, no.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Mike is saying good morning, and we say it back to you. Also, here's another thing. We discuss shorting versus puts a lot here, and I blame myself. I don't comment on this very often, so I appreciate that Chris is doing it for us. It's always worthy to note that if you short equities as opposed to buying puts or going long a short instrument like we all do here, you are responsible to pay the dividend if you are holding the equity short on the div dates.
RVYL hit 200 day SMA. That's perfect. Right out of that halt too. That's exactly what we wanted. That's exactly what we got.
Crow here saying, I don't really like hedging. To me, if something needs to be hedged, you shouldn't have a position in it. Stanley Druckenmiller. I get this, and this makes it difficult. My thought here is that hedging actually makes it a little bit easier because you can kind of hold both. You don't necessarily have to make a choice. Rather, you can ride the fence. Pete here saying, I agree with Stanley Druckenmiller and Crow's sentiment. If you're going to hold a position hedging, you don't fully trust your instincts and probably shouldn't be in the trade. Excluded wild penny gambles. I'm sure if you thought hard enough, you could come up with a couple exclusions for your list there. But the overall point that you folks are both making here, I think it's a good one. And when I hedge, like that's almost more like when I'm playing SQQQ, I still have a bunch of my long stocks. And when I'm playing SQQQ, I guess I'm looking at it as a hedge. Maybe it's not a true hedge. Maybe I'm just trying to take advantage with a new trade over a short-term move that I'm expecting.
Any of you that were looking at RVYL catch the move to the 200-day SMA? That was juicy. Now, I don't know if this is done or not. It's still above the VWAP, so we could still get some more movement. And if we do go higher than the 200-day SMA, levels I'd be looking at are 160 and $2. Those are the levels that I like.
Costco having a decent day. Bitcoin up off the lows. The VIX, which popped right to 20, melted back an entire point, is at 19. I think we're kind of in no man's land there on the VIX, maybe above 20, realistically above 30, and then not until we get to 13 or 15 on the downside.
We're getting some more movement with RVYL, trying to get above that 200-day SMA. Now, if we in the next 10 minutes, if we cannot get any closes above that 200-day SMA, this may end up turning around. So let's also be careful at the same time. But if we start pushing over that 200 and closing above it, I still think that 160 and $2 level could be in play.
What value do you have for that 200 specifically? You probably said it 3 times, but I don't remember.
121.
121, and here we are. We're literally right there, like you said.
I mean, it was great. Out of the halt, we went right to there. Actually, we went to 122, but still, I'll take that. I'll take that all day.
Okay. Tess here. I hedge when I'm in a trade and I see some short-term news is going to rocket, but my initial time frame is still working. This is exactly where I fall, Tess. Like sometimes for example, I guess Ondas is an all right example. Probably not. Apple is a better example. I have Apple from so many years ago at a cost adjusted basis of like $20. Like there's nothing that's going to make me sell it here. But if I think Apple's going to go down, I might buy some puts. I might hedge that long. I'm certainly not looking to get rid of it. This also really comes into play if you're trading dividend stocks. Like the last thing I want to do is sell my dividend stocks. But if I thought for sure that they were going down and it was unrelated to the dividend, maybe I'd hedge that a different way.
Thanks for that mention there, Izzy, on Rivian. They had an offering. I think they're in trouble. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. $1.25 billion green bond to refinance the 26 notes. That kind of makes me wonder what that rate was on the green bond, or I'm sorry, the debt that they had from 2026 notes, because maybe it's a lower rate that they got now. They might even have to refinance again if there's any rate cuts from the Fed.
Yeah, really quickly here. First of all, my stance on Rivian has not changed. I've always kind of been skeptical of this. More the stuff here. First of all, this discussion here on the hedging that came out of nowhere. I think this is all great. I'm gonna keep mentioning a couple of these things here. Zach was asking, how can you go short in an instrument you already know? And Pete hit this right on the head. Options, right? So I own Apple stock. I'm not shorted. I own it long. If I ever play Apple to the short side, or if you ever hear me saying I'm shorting Apple, what's actually happening is I'm buying puts. Okay, so I'm not actually, and I often will correct myself. I just say shorting because it's easier for people to understand. But the answer here, as Pete is saying, is you buy options. Pete also was saying, Ryan, I don't count index ETFs as hedges against individual positions. Fair enough. So I think what he's referring to there is like, if I think the market's going to go down and I got a bunch of longs and I buy SQQQ, it's not really a hedge because it's not against an individual position. Rather, I'm just trying to take advantage of the next market move. So that makes sense to me.
Smoke Tuna and Crow are mentioning BMGL. This is another break of a trend line. So here we are moving above this and the 65 EMA. I believe that was one of the big hurdles that had to get over. This thing is starting to move, but we still have some consolidation that this price has to work its way through from the pre-market. There are basically two areas of consolidation. This first one we're working through right now. The second one starts at about $9, and that goes to about $9.90, $10. The highs of the pre-market are $11.32. So we may get a bit of back and forth trying to get up to those levels if it even can do that. But the first two areas of consolidation are going to be from about where we are now. But $9 looks to be the next area of resistance. So that's what I'd be watching for here with BMGL. Nice move through the trend line though, and VWAP.
Here is your trend line. Sorry, it took me a sec to get it up there. Also, Sean here saying hedging makes a lot of sense when you're holding for either a catalyst or you love the stock and don't want to sell because you'd owe a bunch of taxes. Indeed. That is a huge part of it. I think I commented on that, but it's worth reiterating that. Okay. Funky cold stocks. I have not tried to trade BMGL. So I'm unsure. Nathan mentioning that RVYL back up there at that 121, 122 spot, still up there.
Yeah, some brokers will restrict certain shares, so
it's annoying when they do it. It's annoying. No other way to put it.
But I haven't. I don't. Actually, I can't even answer that, Funky, because I haven't tried to buy BMGL. But it is available to trade for me, so I'd imagine I can do it. Speaking of that stock, there is a large concentration of sellers at 848 that the price is trying to currently work through. Needs more volume if we're going to get through that. RVYL, this thing having a great morning ever since it finally took off from the consolidation that it was experiencing since the pre-market. Now looking at a high of 128. Don't know where this party ends quite yet.
CrowdStrike calls going off ahead of earnings here. This actually wasn't even all that big.
Actually, RVYL, I think this may end up stopping or finding some resistance big time at 135.
Okay, we're almost there.
Mm-hmm. Certainly are. So let's see if that's what happens when we get up there. 135, and then we might trigger some selling or reversal. That's where the 200 EMA is on the daily.
132 looked like the high print there. How's TEM doing, Jay? Jay, this is almost, oh my God, Jay, you're going to get it. 66 was where this stock was prior to that report. We're just about 63. I don't have the exact quote from you memorized, but you basically said, give it a few days. This is going to, we are almost back to where it was. This is the third session after the announcement of that short report. This is a monster. This was a really, really good call. Good stuff. Funky Cold Stocks, take care of yourself, man. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us here today.
Take care. And regarding TEM, do you have trend lines on there?
I might on the bigger chart. So I have one bottom trend line here on the smaller chart, but hang on, 13. Let me take a look at my bigger chart that I put most of the stuff. No, I don't.
Because I got one on the top side that starts with the August 22nd, 2024 high. You draw that through the November 12th, 2024 high. Keep it going right through the highs we made in February, and just make sure it's got those first two lined up, because I think that's what we want to use for the trend line. And if we are going to continue to trade up here, that'd be the resistance area I'd be looking for. If we got that move in the course of a couple of weeks, that might push this up towards $85, $86.
I think I got it then. I think I drew this correct, because I got the same values that you were asking about. Okay, let me go back to you know what? This wasn't a difficult one to draw at all. Since on my other chart here, let me actually do the exact same thing, because I suspect this is not going to be the last time that we're talking about Tempest. Here we go, TEM. You got it, Funky Cold. You got it. Really good stuff here from our group yet again. Just completely unsurprised by the amazingness of our group.
Best group on the internet.
Definitely. BMGL, Jacob, good morning. It's great to see you again, Jacob. We're actually continuing to move through that trend line as well as the VWAP now.
Here comes 9.
BMGL. I know some of you can't buy this one, but damn, this one's looking all right.
Here comes 9. 9 is going to be that first test. Get enough volume and break through 9. This thing might move even better. Where's that one we were just looking at? No, it wasn't that one. Here we go. RVYL. So 133 is the high, starting to pull off that now. Still above VWAP. It's looking for 135. That was where the 200 EMA is on the daily.
Fast Eddie mentioned this is not a trade that I'm following, but it appears that you are. Someone moved their big 60K June 20th 145 calls on XLI till July 11th 146. So they rolled it out a month and up 1 point. Was this a pending, or what is this? Moved their big? Was this a transaction that happened, an offer? What's going on with that?
This is a sector.
No, I know. I'm asking more about the specifics of the trade, not XLI. RCAT, by the way, drone names, giving some of it back. RCAT actually right at the pre-market lows. How's Ondas doing? Ondas faring better here, which is good to see, but drone moves did give some of them back. We'll see if they set up again. Yeah, Britt here mentioning, Britt, you're the other, this is another person reporting this. Thinkorswim / Schwab, which is what I use here as well, won't let me buy BMGL. It says potential fraud. Damn, it's not even holding back. Potential fraud.
You sweet summer child, Thinkorswim. Most of the stocks on here are complete frauds.
Sweet summer child.
Welcome to trading, Thinkorswim. I'm sorry, I'm being mean. I'm not.
No, it's hilarious. Britt giving us the deets though. They said given its comparison versus historical trading. I have no idea what that means. Britt, I think that's a nice way of them saying this thing stinks to high heaven. That's what it sure feels like anyway. That's good stuff though. Appreciate you.
I think this is getting okay. So we did get above 9. It did take that out. Still in the same candle right now though. So let's see if we can close above it.
I went to the wrong one. I went to Lira. It's BMGL is what we're looking at. This is continuing to move.
Brian, look. We talk about this several. I'm not trying to say you're out of the loop or anything, but this is akin to gambling with some of these names here. I'm not saying this is making better gamblers of us all, but I'm saying I'm saying that this is a great exercise in risk management. This is something that we need to be able to capture some of this movement, and get out, say thank you, and look the other way.
Yassine, take care of yourself, man.
Take care of yourself.
Good to have you here. Brian says, my thing is that if it's potential fraud, how are millions of shares trading and it's rocketing still? So the answer, the actual answer to that is that these brokerages, these retail brokerages, they're trying to look out for their customer base by not letting them trade fraud stocks, even if you're good at trading fraud stocks. The reality is that there's plenty of other execution means that you could even get with a retail account. If you have something like DOS Trader, or if you have a Goldman Sachs routing or something, there's plenty of ways to get other routing to get around some of these. If you just have a run-of-the-mill retail account, which is what most of us have, including myself, by the way, it's going to stop you from buying some of these.
Good one, Gary. They think they are the robo police. Oh, man. I need to pay attention to what happens with SPY, because some of the things that I was looking for to happen has happened. We did go down to that 586.12 previous all-time high. We did print beneath it, but recaptured it, went back up to that 589.60 level that I thought was interesting last week, and that is resistance. So here's our range for now, right, folks, is you got 586.12, which is the previous all-time high, and the 589.60, which is 13's interesting, weird, super crazy level from last Tuesday. So that's the range until we start breaking out of one of those two levels. This is where we're going to be at for today. That's what I think. I mean, just need to start moving over one of those two levels.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense to me.
Chinese fraud are my favorites, is Gary, because they
was
do move
say,
pretty
I knew
well.
That was coming. I knew that was coming. You make enough money on fraud stocks, they're going to be your favorite.
Yes, exactly, producer. That explains how HKD went from 100 to over 2,000 and back again in a few days. I don't think I'll ever forget that, because that was just one of the craziest, most wildest things. I mean, I was around for GameStop too, but even that didn't have the surprise, for everybody that the HK did.
But between Crow and Gary here, we're popping off here. Crow says we love fraud stocks. Gary's favorite are the Chinese variety. You folks are great.
BNAI penny stock you guys were talking about earlier. Did it finally make some moves? It looks like it's still trying to get over that 65 EMA on the 5-minute chart. Do have some prints above it, but unfortunately not very many closes. We need consistent closes above this in order to get a run going.
RVYL, wow.
A bit of a trend here in this one, intra-session.
And which one?
BNAI. I'm just looking at the highs from the regular session, and there's a bit of a trend going on there. Just from the regular session, not the pre-market. Just those three top wicks.
Yep, right here. I got you.
Yep. Let's see what we get. Yeah, Hong Kong listed stock with no news, up 200%. Oh, we got them. We'll look at them. We'll talk about them. We'll laugh at them. We'll trade them. We'll do all that stuff, and then we'll say thank you very much and walk away.
Look at this. Look at Lori here. First of all, Lori, shout out to Tuna. We'll go ahead and throw that out there as well. Tuna's getting it done. I had BMGL because of you on Friday. I have an account with Webull, Robinhood, and Fidelity. Lori's just out here getting it done. When Fidelity doesn't let me trade, I try my other accounts. Lori's given us a great tip on how you might be able to get around that. Diversify your accounts.
Yep.
And Amanda, I know we're here talking about fraud companies, Chinese companies, and all of that. And Amanda's busy dropping gold nuggets on the floor. Regarding CrowdStrike, that's why you sell premium. You're always behind when you buy the options. You can always use the levered versions to get a better deal too, like CRWL.
RVYL is halted. It halted just after it printed 134. We have that 200 EMA on the daily chart at 135. So once we come out of this halt, I don't want to make any predictions if we're going to break out or not, but we are right at the edge there. So if you're still in this one, just understand that there are some upside and downside risks coming out of this halt here. Like that could have some pretty big implications for the price action.
I would imagine if you're still in this one, you have probably sold along the way as this thing has made a huge move to the highs.
I would hope that that's the case.
Yeah, me too.
Around some of these other names here.
Joe, the fortune cookie says sell before 4 p.m. Thank you, fortune cookie. G Pro, my biggest bag ever. Ugh, I'm sorry to hear that, Crow. G Pro is my biggest IPO trade ever. My mom was doing a garage sale at the time, and I was trading that, and I was like, oh my God. TTD. This is a swing that I'm in that isn't working. Got some more time on this. Doing an all right job holding 73 here on TTD. We had a big move up, so a pullback here, not the end of the world. Really want it to hold the 73 area and curl back higher. That is a July expiry on that trade, just to give myself some more time.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lira right now, seeing if that's going to get back above the trend line, and then the VWAP, which is at $30.08, but volume isn't there. Some of these names that we're looking at could come back later in the day, but at lunch hour, I think it's going to hammer some of these things. I'm just waiting to see if Lira is going to be one of them. Volume slowed down. I mean, it's been a good morning, so folks, don't try and force anything if it doesn't look good. I wouldn't rely on hope at this stage. NVDE just popped above its VWAP, but then it just suddenly stopped. So, trade that if you want. I'm just not sure about these right now because a lot of these names are really starting to lose some volume. Lira is coming back up to the VWAP, so that one's looking okay. But I don't know how much follow through we're going to get with these. So I would just say be careful at this stage, folks. We are past that 1030 marker where volume does dry up in a lot of these names. So don't try to force anything. Just protect your capital. But man, Lira did just go to VWAP. Now it's coming back off it. Maybe there is still some more life left in Lira.
Well, now this trend line break that we got, this just happened because of time, right? Like we basically just traded sideways until we ended up breaking it. It'll be interesting to see if we have any carry through here. Mm-hmm. And like Tuna is saying here, watching the volume is really going to determine whether this is a for real move or maybe a head fake move.
Yeah,
I'm with Tuna on that one too.
Tuna is also mentioning NVVE. Yeah, that one also just moved back above its VWAP, and it's holding above its VWAP. So let's see if this can continue to move up. We need to see this get above 165. I think. Nope, closes on the 5-minute candles above 165, despite there being several prints above it. I like 165 as a breakout level following this move above VWAP.
Scott, good mention here. S Pro, this actually had a pretty decent curl, and the volume really kind of confirmed the move. This took out the intraday highs from Friday. Stocks up 14, almost 15% here.
Oh wow! RVYL is unhalted, and it was hit in that 135, and then it just blasted through it, went up to 144. But look, it swung both ways first.
God, and this thing came from pennies too today.
So that's what I was referring to about this could go both ways. Initially it was down, and then it went and broke through that 135, hit 144 as the high now. Do whatever you guys want if you're still in this. I don't want to tell you how to do with your trade, but this has been a really great one. Just don't let it turn sour on you.
Yeah, don't let any of these turn sour on you. Don't feel bad about some of these short-term ones. Tuna here saying LYRA, it never broke its VWAP. If it never broke its VWAP, it's going to go to the highs. Now, I know we've got some different VWAPs here. This did hold it so far on mine. Maybe we do return back to those highs. And you know what else, 13? I know this might be blasphemous for you, but if I'm going to draw a trend line in the other direction, maybe we get that as a target.
No, that's fine. That looks fine to me. Now we did get no, it was trading above my view up anyway into the open, and we did go up to like the 37.50 something up, and it was above VWAP. But following that, we knifed, and we haven't been above VWAP since until just recently, just in this current candle where we made our first print above it in the over an hour, something like that. So yeah, I mean, if we can recapture VWAP, I think that would be quite bullish.
Tom, this is a good point. It's not just 13 and I flapping our gums all day. We've got the power of the community behind us. And I'll be honest with you, all I had to do to get this rolling was encourage, and I don't mean to say I basically just encouraged the people that kept showing up to keep sharing what they're seeing. And this is what it turned into. It just goes to show you can learn something from almost anybody. Don't ever forget that. And we're going to keep trying to do that here together.
Yeah, bring your ideas, bring your party hats. It's a good time.
It is definitely a good time. It is definitely a good time.
You guys are still talking Lira. Crow wants 50s on Lira.
50s.
Well, hey, look, I'm not going to say
I'm not. Look, too many of these dumb price targets have hit 13 for me to sit here and poo-poo them.
Let me look at another chart here for Lira. God, I'm really tempted to say some things. I had a girlfriend named Lira, but anyway.
Did you really?
I'm not going to talk about that though, because
okay,
this is going to be an ex-girlfriend, nice like the stock.
Really quickly here, question, Mike, asking about Teva. So Teva, this is an interesting one. I know that this has a pretty good following. You're asking this on a ceasefire. This isn't the Israeli pharmaceutical company. So you're talking about a potential. I don't know if a ceasefire could be the catalyst. I mean, I would imagine it would be positive for pretty much any of those. Looking at the chart, though, really what this comes down to, we need a sustained move through this 200. And I got to think 1830 is some pretty decent resistance. Also have a gap fill up to 21.5. So as far as like a spec long here, this doesn't actually look terrible. I'd really want to see it move through the 17.5 level, though.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of on board with you, Crow. I don't know that we'll get 50s. I'd be looking at 46.75. That's going to be my level.
APLD here, by the way, coming up to that $10 resistance area that we talked about earlier. It's backed off of this area twice, maybe third time's the charm. I would watch this $10 APLD. Big move for our group here, up 44.7%. Good Lord.
She must have been Turkish. No,
because of the Turkish lira, but
no, she wasn't.
Day and night.
That drop is just so good. Like this, the bass hit. I like feel it in my chest.
All right, so
INOD, by the way, we talked about this a little bit last week. This popped on Friday. This is popping again here today. I have no position in this INOD. 13, what do you think here about a potential head and shoulders?
Oh, yeah. Certainly looks like that's taking shape here now. This could go back up to 55 before it finishes forming the right shoulder.
Yeah.
But, man, every time I look at this one, I'm just like, wow, we owned this when it was under 10.
But what I keep telling myself is that we made good money on this. I mean, I know it's 40 now, and we owned it. A 390, I think, was my first buy. But I bought and sold at 9, rebought at 5, sold at like 11. So yeah, I made multiple trades on this for points, but not 3 to 40.
No. I thought we were killing it when this thing was hitting like the teens and the 20s, but then it does, and then we were out. I was out like after that. This thing goes to $70 this year.
Yep.
Didn't see that. Did I dump Lira? Let's see. How did we end that?
I thought that I wasn't gonna call that comment out. I thought that was clever, but you got to it.
I'm trying to. Oh, No. She was going to move to New Orleans, and I was in California, so it wasn't going to work out. That's what it was.
Makes sense. Nolans.
Mm-hmm. It's a biotech week. Mike, I think it might be a biotech month based on the seasonality that we were discussing earlier and last week. Not on here, but in our happy hour. I think biotech might have we're rendering a good seasonality for it.
Yep. Toyota, seeing some news here. Toyota Industries announces acceptance of $42 billion takeover bid. Toyota Industries is expected to announce that it will accept a takeover bid by Toyota Motor and other group companies as early as Tuesday.
I'm tempted to try Lira, but I had a good trade this morning. I'm not going to give it back, but it could certainly go higher from here. I'm just not going to try it.
The cover of the new Madden game is Saquon Barkley hurdling a dude. So I don't know if anyone
backwards.
Well, yes, it's that backwards hurdle. It doesn't look backwards because of the way the picture's shot, but that's what it is.
They need some blur lines to show him that he's going backward.
Yeah, the hyperspace lines.
Yeah, the hyperspace lines.
Meta going higher here, big B's. We're going to see some new all-time highs. That $700 level for Meta seems important.
You want to pull up the TQQQ?
Yeah, I do.
Look at, tell me if you see a trend line there.
Sure do.
See if we break it.
Boop, boop.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, Kevin, have a great rest of your.
Yeah, Kevin, take care of yourself, man. By the way, Kevin, I'm just going to shout you out again. I see a ton of your tweets over the weekend. And it always helps bring me back to what we're doing here on a regular basis. Keep it up, man. Appreciate you. Take care of yourself, Amanda. You're headed out. We're actually headed out here too. I got
real quick, RVYL, halt to the downside, knife. So there it is.
So that 140 area, that 146 area.
I was done with this at 135. That was the 200 EMA. Whatever else happened, that was whatever everybody else wanted to do. But this is that was it for me.
Hyperfine, HYPR.
Oh, wow.
This is ripping here. This is now no longer a penny stock. All right, 13. Okay, we got 20 seconds left. 13. Any closing words for the group here today? I'll start by saying that this is a great Monday, great way to kick the week off.
Absolutely. Fun day. Great to spend it with everybody in the chat. We made some great trades. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll do it again. And enjoy the rest of your Monday, folks. I'll see you then. Take care.
Amen. 13. Really good stuff. We'll see you in happy hour later and tomorrow here on the morning show. That is 13, folks. Guys, great guys and gals. Great stuff here today. This is exactly how we want to start off a week. We got a full week here, so we're looking forward to getting back at this again tomorrow. We got Trader Bacon next. I'm going to send you over there. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe on your way out, please. It is very helpful to us, and it's free to support us.